Hello. Oh, no, that's not the right one. Hey, here we go. Hi, everyone. Warning, hang on. Oh, I can hear myself in the background. Bruh, hang on. Yeah, mild warning, I have the hiccups. I've been trying to get rid of them for the last like half hour, but to no avail, so I might be a bit hiccupy for the start of the stream. Sorry I'm a bit late. I was looking for... Oh my god, this is really bad. There were two kitchen tools I'm looking for that I currently can't find. They're not important, but they're just for like a little flair. But I'll find them later, it's all good. Or we'll improvise. Anyway, so how's it going? We're back in the kitchen after a couple weeks. Oh my god, sorry. My main reason for not doing cooking streams for a while has been that I've been trying to cut back on a lot of the junk food I've been eating and a lot of the garbage I've been eating. Hi damn. Thank you. I haven't shaved and I haven't washed my hair and I've just worn my t-shirt, which damn, what's his name? Mr. 808 something on Instagram made for me. He's really nice. His name's Raul, I believe, and he's really lovely. He made me this sick KKB Dallas t-shirt when we went there. So yeah, I've been trying to cut down on the junk food I've been eating lately, because since I went out for tour last year, I've just been eating garbage every day, and it's like, well, not garbage, but just unhealthy meals. So I've been like trying to cut down. I've gained a little bit of weight. I'm trying to like cut back on some of that shit. So first thing I want to make today, which is not on brand, considering I'm talking about making healthier things today. Well, not healthier things, but like easy, repeatable, like kind of prep meals that you can prepare a large batch of, put in the freezer, then you have a nice kind of pre-portioned healthy meal that, like, if I just want lunch, I can just take like a little burrito out the freezer and I can defrost it in the microwave and toast it in the frying pan. I've got a nice little healthy burrito. But the first thing we're going to make, these hiccups are killing me. Hi Matthias, how's it going? The first thing we're going to make is a chocolate ganache, which is going to go on some little madeleine cakes that we're going to make later, which are going to be my nice little daily treat. I have my current batch that I made yesterday here, and they're these little kind of beautiful French little seashell kind of shaped cakes, and they're really delicious. These ones have orange and poppy seeds in, and they are kind of just a lovely little light, delicious morning snack. They're perfect with a coffee. They're absolutely fantastic. So we're making some of those today. And these ones are lemon and poppy seeds, so the ones I'm going to make today are going to have chocolate in them, because everyone deserves a little treat. So I'm just going to break up my dark chocolate. This is just like regular dark chocolate. Just breaking this up in the packet so I don't get chocolate everywhere. Oh my god. Sorry, I hate hiccups. They're like the worst thing ever. They're killing me today. Just breaking that up. So to make chocolate ganache, it's really simple and it's really delicious. So just equal parts dark chocolate, and you can use double cream, like heavy cream here. I'm just going to use semi-skim milk. So I've got basically 100 grams of chocolate. I'm just going to add round about to 100 grams of... I'm actually a bit cautious now. I might need a bit more than this, because I'm going to be making like the batch of madeleines I'm going to make makes about 16. Jesus Christ. I'll make the whole packet of chocolate, and then I'll just keep the extra in the fridge because it keeps really well. I remember I used to make this all the time when I was working in a cafe in the kitchen. I used to make this, and they use it for hot chocolate. I tell you what, if you want the best hot chocolate, oh my god, the best hot chocolate you've ever had in your life, make this chocolate ganache, dark chocolate and heavy cream, and then put that in the bottom of a cup and then steam milk into the cup, and it's amazing. So right, I'll add the full chocolate in, so we have 200 grams. This is just regular, just plain dark chocolate. So it's a little bit sweet, but I'm not a huge milk chocolate guy. So right, let's just add up to about... Perfect. Okay, cool. I'll put this in the fridge because this is a new bottle of milk. I don't really have dairy milk very often. Like, milk that comes from cows. I don't actually like it very much. I only use it for cooking. So right, just going to stick that on. Pretty low heat. You should really do this with a double boiler, where you put like a metal bowl over the saucepan. And just add it over there. Where you add a little metal bowl over the saucepan just to like gently melt the chocolate in. All my spoons haven't been put away. Bruh. I did loads of washing up. I mean, that's one of my main reasons for doing cooking streams, is it motivates me to like fully wash up everything in my kitchen. So I'm just going to get a big old spoony boy, just give it a little stir. You want to heat this very gently, otherwise it will burn. And I did burn this 1,000 times when I used to make it every day in the kitchen. So many times I got yelled at. And then eventually that will just melt and incorporate. I can add a little tiny pinch of salt in as well, just to give it a little bit more body. And that will very slowly and gently melt into a nice little, let's turn the heat right down, nice little chocolate ganache. Then we can cool that down. That will go in our cakes later. I was thinking later, because how these cakes are, let's just go open one up again, just from my little baggie. These are great because they keep fresh at room temperature for like about 3 or 4 days. What I was thinking of doing was, now I think about it, the apple corer wouldn't work. I was thinking of punching a little hole out with the apple corer and then filling it full of chocolate. Or I have some like sealed medical grade syringes, not with needles, just a plastic syringe, that I use for cleaning guitar components and also really good at giving cats medicine. I have some like brand new unopened unused ones. I was thinking about getting those and just squeezing it into the bottom and squirting a little bit of chocolate in, but can't find them. So we'll have to find another way of incorporating our chocolate ganache into our little cakes today, but it's all good. Well, I hope everyone's having a good day. I hope you're having a good, like, what day is it? Thursday? I'm having a cool, chill Thursday. I watched that Metal Gear Solid 2 documentary. I've already seen that before, actually, but I like don't remember watching it. And that was really cool, watching that and seeing them play with Lego and talk about memes back in, like, 1999. So yeah, it's just starting to melt and turn really lovely and silky. Oh my god, these hiccups are killing me. So also today, apart from these little cakes, because these are the treat, these are like your little daily treat. Apart from this, we're going to be making a really, really lovely tomato and chorizo soup, which I've been having for the last couple of days, which is really good. And we're going to make some just really nice steak and vegetable burritos, which are a really great way to... Oh, bruh. A really great kind of nice convenient package, because when you make a burrito, you just... Like frozen one, take it out of the microwave, just take out the freezer, put it in the microwave till it's thawed, then get a non-stick pan, just gently toast the tortilla, roll it around till it's lovely and warm, then wrap in a bit of foil, haven't even got to bother with a plate. Easy. That's like the ideal lunch for me. And then you got your meat, you got your carbohydrates, you got your vegetables, you have a little bit of like protein and fat from some cheese. Lovely. It's spicy, delicious, everything you need. I feel like I just watched you play the model game. Oh my goddamn, yeah, I know. Well, I hope you had a good week. I hope it's gone by quickly for you. My week's been actually pretty boring. I've been stuck inside because there was a really huge, and there's another one coming this weekend, there was like a huge weather storm in England, and it was like one of the biggest ones like in modern times. There was like 100-mile-an-hour winds, insane rain, flooding, snow, and I live quite near the coast, so I had the winds were really bad. Actually, a poor guy, on Tuesday morning was killed about 2 streets over from my house. He was walking his dog in the morning, and the wind was still really bad, and a branch fell from a tree and hit him and killed him. So I've been staying in. When it's been quiet, because usually it's been in the early morning and at night times. I've still got hiccups. In the early morning and night times, the wind has been really bad. Like, it's been enough to like blow you over. So I've been staying put, and then about like lunchtime it calms down for an hour or two. So that's when I've been going and doing bike ride and doing my errands and stuff. Right, cool. So I got my chopping board here. I'm just going to start prepping some bits and bobs. Just got a bit of a wet paper towel underneath it just to stop it from sliding about while I'm chopping things. We have a tradition on the cooking streams, which I really like, where we have this. Let me get my oh, fucking hell, my camera up for this. Where is it? Yeah, this one here. For this chopping board, we can, here we go, put chroma key on it, and we can green screen this out. Hang on, let me just get that nice and neat. Let's try and pick a better colour. Hang on. Because what colour is this without it? It's quite like a bit more blue. It's kind of more like this. So if you give your submissions in chat for what you want on the chopping board of doom today. We had Susan Wajiggy last time because she was giving me bad streaming encoding. Excuse me. Right, here we go. Yeah, that's perfect. Let's turn it on. Oh, no, what happened? That ain't right. What the fuck? What's going on? Alright, hang on. Let's... Maybe it's not selected the... Hang on, I'm just going to check my chocolate is burning. It's best to melt this as gently as possible because you don't want the chocolate to burn, because chocolate burns so easily. What the fuck's happening? Let's turn this off. Right, let's go. See, oh my god, this fucking thing is killing me. So yeah, suggestions in chat for what we want on our chopping board today. Man's head in fishbowl stock image on the chopping board. Alright, cool, let's do that. Right, let's get chroma key back on. Here we go, that's better. Sensitivity was a bit too high. Okay, great. So, it's funny because right now, like, I'm on here. Hang on, where am I? There I am. Look at, wait, hang on. This is going to be really funny. What's my, everything's been moved in my fucking kitchen because I tidied it all up today. Hang on. I'm an adult. Alright, okay. Man's head in fishbowl stock image. Let's go. Just checking all the other gases off. I've got water all over my fucking counter now. These streams are always so chaotic. God damn. Right. Man's head in fishbowl. That sounds like the Tom York Radiohead thing. Alright, here we go. It's so funny how it like distorts the... Oh my god. Alright, here we go. The source and destination files are the same, I know. Right, let's add an image. This takes so long. Alright, add a new source instead. Where's the fishbowl? Here we go. Oh, sick. Let's put that underneath the camera. Hey, here we go. So there we go. This is our demonic chopping board for today. Pokemon rap time, lads. Alright, let's get chopping some veggies while this goes on. So, I'm going to need some onions today. Actually, I have some, even better than that, I have some shallots today. Which are like onions, but a little... Yeah, I'm probably going to need all these. Which are like onions, but a little bit smaller and a little bit sweeter. Shallots are delightful, I really love them. They're kind of just a nice, like, different kind of take on an onion flavour. Let's get all this shit out of the way for a sec. So I'm not going to chop these too fine. I'm going to chop them into like little strips so I can just top and tail these. My knife doesn't feel that sharp today. I need to give that a little quick sharpen. Damn, son. Always important to sharpen your knife whenever you use it. If I could fucking find my knife sharpener. Bruh, everything's missing from my kitchen today. Everything's been moved. Here we go. Always remember, sharp knife is safer than a dull knife. So, just gonna go back and forth on that bad boy. Look as menacing as possible. Just gonna align the blade from our knife so it's nice and even. Because what happens, the tip of the blade is so thin, you can't even see it. And as you use it, it becomes kind of bent over. And by doing that, all you're doing is just... You're not grinding the knife, you're just realigning it. That makes it lovely and sharp. It's bad if you over-grind your knives. That takes the surface off the blade, and that's how you end up like permanently blunting them. So those knife sharpeners that are grinder-based, they're bad. I don't like them. They actually ruin your knives long term. So cool, our chocolate ganache is looking good. It's almost there. It looks lovely and chocolatey. And I know for a fact this shit is delicious. Right, cool. So let's just get all this studio off the board. Start halving these. Oh, that's much better. Actually takes a bite of the onion now. Never had an onion take a bite out of you. What's that? My sandwich took a bite out of me. It's like Simpsons or something. Damn, son. A little bit hard to peel these shallots than regular onions, but it's all good. So they kind of taste somewhere between, like, they're less harsh than a white onion, and they're like, they have the sweetness of a red onion without that insane harshness. And they're kind of small and they look real pretty. Like, these are great. If you're making, like, any kind of roasted meat or something like that, just chop these up into little halves and just put these, like, make a bed out of these. To oh, my chroma key's gone a bit funny, but yeah, a little bed of these underneath like a roast rack of beef or something's delightful. Very underused. They're quite seasonal shallots, so you don't get them all the time. They are in season right now, so they are available. So I'm just gonna like not overthink this too much. Just just kind of into little thin strips, and that'll be nice because we can saute those when we make our burritos. And you have these nice little kind of long, kind of oniony little strands that'll be kind of soft and tender and a little bit sweet, well, while adding some kind of sharpness and bite to the burrito. Just working our way through the knife. I think our ganache is pretty much done. I can take that off the heat. Give that one final stir. Oh, that's done. Turn the heat off. I don't want that burning. Check the bottom. Bottom's all lovely. No burnt chocolate anywhere. Just going to give that a stir, let it just cool and homogenize. As that cools down, it'll get to a nice consistency. You thought the same thing about the blue? Hang on. Oh, I didn't even get the reference there. I'm sorry. I'm a boomer. I don't even, my memory. I'm so old. My memory's gone. I'm blue, da ba dee ba die. But yeah. Although the t-shirt's kind of like sky blue and my hair's like more of a lilac, but the camera has got like quite bad colors, so it kind of makes everything look the same, like kind of brilliant blue. Oh my god. I'm not very happy with how I recently coloured my hair like a couple weeks ago, and I used a different dye this time because I was just experimenting and it came out way too blue, so I'm going to switch back to being kind of a bit more on the purple end next time. Like, I missed when I had like pastel-y kind of lavender hair, that was really cool. Since then it's just become too blue, but I've just been like messing around and experimenting, having fun, and I'm not going anywhere, I'm just at home at the moment, so I'm a bloomer, exactly. Just working our way through. Just making my way downtown. Right, cool. So let's get a little bowl just to whack these shallots in while I'm prepping them. So the whole point of today is I'm just doing essentially like meal preps. I'm just kind of preparing a big bunch of stuff that will be useful throughout the week. So while I'm doing this, actually, I can get some beef on. So I just have some... Let me get a frying pan. I just have some regular kind of low-fat ground beef. That's going to be the basis. When I've made these burritos before, I've used like turkey legs or pork joints that I've roasted really slowly until they kind of become super tender and shred, and that's really, really lovely. But this is just like even easier, even cheaper, just bog standard 5% lean beef mince. Just gonna let's get the hob nice and hot while I'm waiting for that. So all I'm going to be doing is just kind of sauteing this off and frying it. So I'll open the other pack while I'm here. Just, yeah, frying this off, giving it a little bit of colour. Like, it's really important when you cook things like ground beef, because this beef has a lot of moisture in it. Like, the supermarkets add a lot of water to the beef to make the product go further, because beef's very expensive. Because it's difficult to produce beef, because it's unsustainable. But yeah. So they add a lot of moisture to it, so it's really important when you are making things like this to actually saute it properly. So you need a hot frying pan, high heat, and then you have to be... Oh no, I'm going to have to turn this chroma key down because it's not working very well. It's really important to kind of manage the... That's better. I don't know why that was so difficult. It's really important to just kind of keep an eye on that, because you don't want to end up with that grey, boiled kind of ground beef. That's not fun. It's like when you're making a burger, you want to get nice colour on it, nice sear on it to kind of make it stand out. So I'm going to let this pan get nice and hot, and then I have about maybe just 1.25 kilograms, no, 1.5 kilograms of beef that I'm going to saute, because I'm making a lot of burritos today. I haven't watched the mini documentary on Eiffel 65. That sounds great. I remember I loved the song when I was a kid, because I was like 7 or something when it came out, so... But I always remember there was a like a brutal list of like the worst albums ever made, and that album was on one of the lists. I remember reading it, and there was a song on... I haven't listened to it. There's a song on that album called PlayStation, and it's just like Eiffel 65 beats, Eiffel 65 type beat with like text to speech saying PLAYSTATI. over and over and over again, and it's like they were like, this is like one of the worst pieces of music I've heard in my entire life, and it's just like, bro, why are you so mad? Just drop a shallot on the floor, it's fine. That one's still in its skin. But yeah, I haven't seen the documentary on it though. But didn't the guy get like depressed because of the song or something like that? I remember hearing that it like ruined his life, and he was like mad about it. Oh my god, this chroma keying effect is fucking insane today. Let's put this back. There we go. Cool, this pan's nice and hot now, so what I'm going to do, I will just take about... So I'm going to do it in batches, so I'm going to take about half of this one packet of beef, which is about 500 grams. So I'm just going to... And just break it into the pan with my hands. I don't need to add any oil to this because even though it's lean beef, it still has enough fat in there to kind of render out and make itself kind of crispy, so I don't want to add any extra oil. This is going in a burrito, so there's going to be plenty of flavour going on in there. Don't want to add any unnecessary fat. So just doing this by hand, just crumbling this beef in. And by doing this, we're spreading it out, we're making the beef have as much surface area as possible so it has lots of contact with the hot pan. Smells like burgers already, it's great, I love it. And this will enable a really nice kind of crust to build up on the beef and lovely kind of dark colour. That's fine. Just give me a little hands a wash. I mean, raw beef's not bad for you, raw beef's fine. It's not like chicken, there's no real cross-contamination hazards. So I'm just going to get a little spatula and just kind of, like when we're making smash burgers, just press down a little bit so it's got a nice contact with the grill. And you don't want to mess with this too much, just leave it. I'm just going to leave this. I'll tell you what, I can take my chocolate ganache out, that's cooled down enough now, I can just put this out of the way. So it can continue cooling without being bothered. Oh, there's another shallot on the floor, bruh. Hang on, let's see. I'm just going to add some just salt to the beef while it's cooking. It'll just help it draw out its moisture. Let's catch up with the chat, hang on. I thought I was cutting up goldfish when you first said, oh my god. Well, I mean, aren't goldfish just carp? So I don't know what they taste like. But no, I'm not cutting up goldfish. These are shallots. But, yeah, well, nice to see you, Michael. Appreciate you being here. Watching Greg Jeffrey, I'm Blue, flip notes on my DSLs and took apart my... Yeah, Blue tore them apart. Oh, right. I still remember the lyrics are Metal Gear Solid, Tekken 3, Omega, Boost, Resident Evil. That sounds great. If that came out now, like, if you put, like, Young Lean style, like, rap over that, that'd be sick. I don't know, is the whole, like, PS1 revival thing, like, last year now? Is that like so late 2018, baby? I remember I saw a lot of these at KKB gigs. There's like some kind of like bougie like streetwear fashion brand that has like the PlayStation logo on it, and I saw so many of those t-shirts, and I was just like, what is this? And I was like, oh cool, PlayStation t-shirt, bro, but it's probably worth like £600 or something. I don't know. I don't understand like expensive clothes. As you can tell by my fan-made Gildan Carabonito t-shirt. Heavy cotton, bro. It's the one. Greens, yeah, I mean, I can't remember who it was, but someone said it on, like, the last one, and I was like, we're doing that every single stream from now on. This is, like, my favourite thing. Oh, yeah! I didn't realise, yeah. The goldfish. I'm not even paying attention. My, like, mind's, like, elsewhere at the moment. So our beef's just doing its thing. As you see, it's starting to kind of turn grey on top, and, so, well, I honestly just want to leave it there. I can turn the extraction fan on quite low, just so my house doesn't smell like beef too much. They smell like beef. Anyone remember that Vine? But yeah, if there are any objects of wrath or humour that we want on the green screen, let me know. We had Susan Wojcicki last week, last time, because she was making my stream not work. But it's a personal vendetta from Google to stop you because I'm a suppressive person or whatever. Okay, cool. Let's get back to the gist. Just working our way through these shallots. Lovely little thin boys. It's very satisfying to cut. I like when like uniform things can be cut into like little uniform shapes. Because these are so oblong, it's like nice and consistent. Whoop. Just missed that bit there. A little bit of silver skin making that slide out. Whoop. So just letting the knife do the work. Nice sharp knife, haven't got to worry about it too much. Keeping a nice kind of grip on the knife. Keeping my knuckles forward and my fingertips in so I don't slice them. I haven't cut myself cooking in such a long time. Like, once you know how to cut properly, you pretty much don't ever do it. And the sharper your knife, the less chance you have of cutting yourself, because it cuts the vegetable, not you. If you have a blunt knife, it's going to slide off and you're going to cut yourself with it. Okie dokie, yeah, beef's looking good. I'll give that a little turn over in a minute. Not the band. I met one of those bands at Coachella. It was either Turnover or Turnstile, I can't remember which one. They were nice. Okay, here we go. Right, cool, lots more shallots. Just whack. I've got a little shallot box over here that I'm just keeping them in for now. Just getting everything prepped at once. This is what it's like when you are working in a kitchen, like in a professional kitchen. You aren't just making one dish at a time. How it works is you're often making, like, when you're doing the, like in a kitchen there's two sides of it. There's kind of prep time where you are doing like what I'm doing now, or I'm just kind of preparing things like, oh, see, look at that. See, this is what we want. These almost look like little hamburger patties if I turn them all over. So we have a nice little brown, crispy kind of... See, the kind of the little brown... It looks black on the camera, but it's not. It's a lovely golden brown. Like, it looks like a nice little hamburger. We can just break these up. I'm going to cook all the beef, and then we'll put it all together. So we will... Turn the heat down a little bit. We can break these all up a little bit later and get them nice and kind of smooth so there's no big chunks. So we'll end up as nice little... Oh, shit. Crispy nugs of beef. Whoops. Right, I'm going to get a little just stainless steel bowl here, just to put the cooked bits of beef in, and I'll add the next round. And as you carry on cooking, you end up with this lovely kind of brown, crispy colour, like fond is what it's called on the bottom, this kind of stuff here. And that gets really, really nice as you carry on. And then at the end, you can deglaze the pan and rinse all that off, and that's just like pure liquid stock. So let's turn the gas back up. Get some more bits of beef in. I'll tell you what, I had such a craving the other day because I haven't been able to eat much fun food lately. Well, I say fun food, I've been eating good food, but just not like indulgent food. I really miss, when I made that curry on cooking stream a couple weeks ago, I want one of those so bad. With those naan breads, bro. That's the best thing I've made on stream for sure. That curry was incredible, I really loved that. And I was so lucky because I made enough, I had enough for like a good 2 days. That's just all I ate was just this amazing curry and naan breads for a couple of days. It was so much fun. I love doing these cooking streams, it's so much fun. Like, I love cooking. And I like doing streaming as well. Oops. Okie dokie. That's plenty of beef. Give my hands a little rinse. What's my green screen? My favourite vegetable to cut? Oh, onions. Onions are the most satisfying thing because they're tricky, but it's like once you got the technique down, it's so easy and it's like super satisfying. Aubergines are really good as well because they're... Oh god, just got hot fucking beef thrown on me. But aubergines are really good too because they are very uniform, but the skin's a bit tough, and if they are a bit overripe, which they often are because supermarkets don't really stock fresh vegetables in England, they suck. They end up kind of being a bit too leathery. But like a good onion, oh mate, cutting an onion's bliss. Like if you get a big onion, it's so satisfying to cut. And when you're like dicing it into like little tiny dices, it's like the whole like 3 steps, it's like very therapeutic. And also because it's like the most commonly used vegetable pretty much. Like you spend so much time cutting those, you get really, when you're in a professional kitchen, you get really, really good at them. But yeah, as I was saying, like in a professional kitchen, you are doing service, which is where you're making like dishes and sending them out and people are eating. But you might start in like a restaurant that might not open till 2. You might start working there at 6 in the morning. You'll be doing stuff like this, just like prepping and cutting vegetables, preparing ingredients. Because like in a restaurant, they obviously don't make everything from scratch. They kind of pre kind of cook all the elements and then do the final assembly. So for example, if you are having like a spaghetti bolognese, they will have a big pot of bolognese sauce made up in the morning with the meat in it, and that will sit there keeping warm on like the giant burners, and then they will cook pasta in the morning and they'll cook it like halfway there, so it only needs like another 2 minutes in the hot water till it's fresh and like al dente.
Because think about it, if you're cooking pasta, like cooking spaghetti is like 8 minutes. And so, like, if you have to wait 8 minutes for each time to cook spaghetti, it's like gonna be way too slow. So you get it done to the point where it only needs about 90 seconds to 2 minutes left. And then when you get an order for spaghetti, you have the sauce already warm and ready to go. And so you then throw down, you have like your kind of semi-cooked pasta. You just throw that down into the kind of pasta boiler, which is like a kind of almost like a deep fryer that's full of water. And then in 2 minutes you have beautiful fresh pasta. You can then serve some of the fresh bolognese sauce. And then your garnishes, and it takes, 2 or 3 minutes to make a dish. Or like if I was making these burritos, I would have the steak already prepared. I'd have all the fillings already prepared. Well, I mean, you see for yourself when you get a burrito, and then you kind of toast the tortilla and add the kind of already prepared elements. So it's still fresh, but it just expedites everything and makes it super easy and super quick. Or you might have like a lasagna that you've kind of cooked 3/4 of the way through, and then you'll just finish it off in the oven, heat it through, and then crisp up the top. Spraying frozen pretzels with water and sprinkling salt on them. Yeah, I mean that's what it's like in Subway when I worked there, pretty much. Actually, Subway has surprisingly more prep than pretty much any other fast food restaurant. You do actually have to make the breads. I mean, you get like frozen, they're like dough blanks, and then you have to defrost them, and you have to do that in a certain way. Then you have to proof them, which actually is a little bit tricky. Like, you actually have to like know about bread making to know how to proof bread properly, and then cooking them, which is important because you can fuck them up really, really easily. And there are like guidelines on bread that's like overproofed, or has been cooked in an oven too hot, or that hasn't had time to proof or defrost properly. So there is a bit of an exact science to that. But apart from that, it's just like, well, one thing I liked about Subway was you actually cut up the vegetables. Like, you cut up the green peppers and you cut up the tomatoes. But they have like big automatic cutters that like, a child could operate. So cool. So by adding colour to our beef like this, it just adds a whole load more flavour. Like, when you get this kind of grey boiled beef, it tends to be very kind of bland and it doesn't really have any flavour. By adding this lovely sear to it, we get texture, and it includes flavour as well. It's like when you get a lovely seared crust on a hamburger. Let's just turn that down. Cool. So that's batch 2 of our beef down. Just kind of scrape up all this good brown stuff. Clear the deck, so to speak. Alright, let's go on to my next. This big boy. This packet doesn't want to open. Ugh. So again, just yeet it in there. Don't worry about it too much. Want to give that as much space to expose as you can. Cool, I'll pop this back in the fridge. I don't want it getting too warm because it is still raw. It's a rule! But yeah, I mean, I imagine if you're in a water park, you're not going to be making pretzels from scratch. That would be way too much effort for a water park pretzel. Imagine how lit that would be, though. You go to the water park and you have amazing, like, from scratch made pretzels. That'd be sick. I'll give this another little yeet down. Again, I'm just going to hit my boy with some more salt. And it's good when to season meat when you're cooking it. Like, I see so many chefs, and like so many fucking YouTube chefs, who don't add salt to anything, and then they just go and add the salt at the end. I'm like, that's the worst way of doing it, because it doesn't absorb into any of the food. You end up with just like salty liquid, and then like the meat's bland through, like all the way through. It's a crime, bruh. You gotta season as you go. It's like a little staircase. Each time you add an ingredient, it's time to add some seasoning. My table of shallots is overflowing. I also have some mushrooms I'm gonna go in my burrito, because mushrooms are just like quite a simple, plain vegetable. They don't really taste of a whole lot. I like how they kind of keep their shape. You can't really overcook mushrooms. They kind of get soft, and they kind of stay soft, and when you chop them up fine, they have a nice texture, and they taste quite kind of meaty when they're in the presence of other meaty things. So I'm just going to add a whole bunch of these. Let's just get these mushroom boys ready to go. And mushrooms are really cheap as well. Mushrooms are like one of the cheapest, easiest to get hold of vegetables. Like this whole like giant pallet of mushrooms is like £1. I'll happily take that. Only thing is though, because they grow in the ground and they grow in compost, you have to wash them off. I mean, I know like you're not supposed to wash mushrooms, like you're supposed to like wipe them because you lose some of their flavor when you rinse them, but these aren't like nice mushrooms from somewhere. These are just plain white mushrooms from the supermarket, so I don't really care. So I'm just gonna rinse these all off in a big old sieve. Oh, let's turn the heat back up on the beef, almost forgot. Just give these a good rinse off, just get all the dirt off of them, because like if you don't get all the dirt and grit off them, it doesn't dissolve, like it will stay and you will get little bits of grit in your food, and that's like the worst feeling. Like any kind of vegetable that's not been washed properly, it will ruin a dish. Like if you have a carrot, like a piece of like unpeeled carrot is really gross, or dirt from a mushroom or spring onion or leek or something like that. It's just like super easy to be avoided. And like I said, I'm not really concerned about losing flavor on these kind of really basic mushrooms. These are just to, you know, add extra fiber and vitamins and to pad the meal out so it's not all like, I don't want to have burrito that's just full of like meat and beans and cheese. I want to kind of space it out a little bit. So with the kind of mushroom's neutral flavor, you get kind of the illusion of eating more meat than you actually are. I'm going to chop them up quite fine too, so it's not like you get a big kind of wet chunk of mushroom. They kind of all blend in with the beef. So just giving these a little rinse. Little rinsey boy. Just shaking off all the excess water so it doesn't go on my counter. Cool. Just trying to think about what else I have to do today. We've been live for like 40 minutes already. So we still have to make all the burritos, make the soup, and make the cake. So it's not a huge amount, but I'm going to try and use my time as best as I can. Just give this beef a little bit of a chop up. I have to say I do miss using more fatty beef just because it does sear so much better, and this beef ends up, like lean beef ends up being a tiny bit dry, like in this format, and it doesn't get as crispy because it has more water in it, because the lean meat's more expensive than the fatty meat, so it ends up not being quite as great. That's fine, I can get rid of that. Into the bowl it goes. But I'm trying to eat something that's a little bit healthier, and if I want to have beef, it's got to be lean beef at the moment. So in with just another big batch of beef. This is one of the things that bugs me about cooking, is when you are constantly having to keep washing your hands every 2 seconds, and that's how your hands get like eczema, and they get dry, and they get sore and split, and your skin gets like all horrible. I used to have struggle with that so badly when I was working in professional kitchens. I used to get such dry hands, and it was really, really sad. I hated it. I absolutely hated it. It was made me miserable. Like I couldn't even play guitar because I had like such big like dry skin patches and calluses on my hands. I had to like really like use, whenever I wasn't at work, my hands had moisturizer on them. I used to have like plain white cotton gloves, and I would cover my hands in moisturizer and then put the gloves on to like do anything. That was the only way. So if I ever had to work in a kitchen again, my hands would get really dry. It sucks, but that's just how it is. Okie dokie. So I'm making quite a lot of food today. I'm making like at least 16 burritos. And then I'm going to make probably like, I don't know, 10, 12 portions of soup. So I've got like a week's worth of food. Like I could just live off of what I'm cooking today for the next week. That with a Huel for breakfast, which I've been having. I've had Huel on and off for like a year, and I really like it. I think it's great. I think it's really cool. Right. Vibe. Mushroom time. So I'm not being too fussy about these, just working my way through them. I'm just going to kind of, when I get enough, I'll start running the knife through them. It's quite hard to see the mushrooms because of a fishbowl man. There's no real proper way to cut a mushroom because they're also oddly sized, and these cheap ones I got are just like largely stalks. Yeah, Huel is like Soylent but better. As far as I know, it's not made by a weirdo in like a factory full of rats and shit. And also, Huel I think is a UK-based company. Soylent I think is quite hard to get in the UK, but Huel has more marketing and branding. It also tastes better. I had Soylent in America. Huel tastes really good. Although actually, I have to say, I did get since I last bought it. I had version 2. They've now brought out version 3. When I changed over to the version 3, I don't like it as much. They started putting kombucha powder in it, and I really don't like kombucha. It tastes like vomit to me. And so now it's like it has a notably like sour and kind of like, you know, fermenty lactic acid kind of stomach acid taste, which I don't like. And also they had the chocolate one, which is what I get, which is really fucking good. Like the old version of the chocolate Huel, it tastes like a chocolate milkshake. It's delicious, but it's really, really good for you. And now it doesn't taste as chocolatey. It tastes less chocolatey and more sour. So I'm not a huge fan on the new Huel, but it's not to the point where it's a deal breaker for me. Like, it's fine. It's just not my favorite thing in the whole world, but when I've used up all my... I bought like fucking 3 huge bags of it, so when I've used those all up, maybe I'll get something else. Maybe I'll try a different kind of meal replacement kind of protein thing. Right, so I'm just kind of chopping these up into the little manageable bits. Need to get another container to put these in. It's always the thing whenever I cook a large amount of stuff, I end up kind of making not a mess, but I end up kind of making too much to clean up. But yeah, I was really surprised actually how much I liked Huel and how much, like, whenever I was having... Because I did it where I was pretty much only having Huel for like a month or two, and that was fine. Like, I really wasn't bothered by it at all, because it tastes really good, so it's like I wasn't really missing very much with it. Oh, the camera's going funny again. But yeah, I wasn't really missing a whole lot of food when I was drinking it, and right now I have it for breakfast, and it's like 400 calories for a portion, and it has like crazy amounts of all of the vitamins and minerals and good stuff that you need throughout the day. And like, it has loads of fiber, it has vitamins and iron and all that good shit that you need. And like, I have it in the morning, and if I have that and like a big glass of water with it, I am so full. Because the thing is, you're consuming like almost a litre of liquid with a portion of Huel, because it's like 800 millilitres of water and then like 100 grams of powder. And that's heavy. That fills your stomach up. That, like, washed down with a big glass of water, you'll be like almost uncomfortably full for like about 4 hours. The only thing is though, I find that despite not being hungry, I still sometimes crave like food. I guess it's like you miss kind of like chewing, or you miss like the sensation of having food in your mouth. That's the only thing that I struggle with sometimes with it. But, you know, in the coming apocalypse, I'd happily... if that was like all there was to eat, I'd happily eat that shit. Like in the Matrix. That wouldn't bother me. I'd be like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, I miss beef. Beef was cool, but, you know, Huel is functional. And it is just good for you, and it's cheap as well, and it's easy. Because, like, I could make fucking, like, eggs and grilled mushrooms and tomatoes every morning, but I can't be bothered. I do enough cooking as it is. So yeah, again, just running my knife through these. My next batch of beef's looking good. Just give this a little... yeah, nice. All the metal parts of my spatula have got hot. So yeah, lots of nice sear. It's like having lots of little... why is this so hot? Ow! It's like having lots of little crispy little hamburger bites, which we're going to break up later on when we add the seasoning in to the beef. I have like some... I'm going to kind of make my own like taco seasoning to go into it, to kind of fill it up with lots of good flavors. Well, it's getting a bit smoky. Just whack the extraction fan up a little bit. I got like 2 more batches of beef to go before we're done sauteing the beef. Where's the beef, bro? Just fill that bad boy up. But I guess what my eventual taco is going to kind of... what it's going to kind of recreate is almost like something that you get from like Taco Bell. Just like kind of seasoned, like, you know, not gourmet at all, just pretty seasoned ground beef. I'm going to add some fresh vegetables into there. I'm going to make some refried beans a little bit later on. And then that's it. Just that and a little bit like grated cheese and a tortilla. And that kind of gives you a little bit of everything. You have carbohydrates, you have vegetables, you have protein, you have a little bit of fat, you have a little bit of dairy, you have fiber. Just kind of everything you need in one little meal. Alright. Nice. Oh shit. Little baggie just fell on the floor. I'll just back that back up again. I'm dropping everything on the floor today, god damn it. Okie dokie. And again, just yeet my bad boys down. Let those get nice and crisp. So our mushrooms are all done. Well, pretty much. Just run my knife through that a few more times. Let's get rid of this drainer. Put that out of the way for now. Again, I'm not being precise about this at all. The whole point of today's stream is definitely like not gourmet, not fancy at all. I just want to make really just simple, really easy food that anyone at home could make. Like any one of you could make this. Like you can definitely simplify. You haven't got to go as like, you know, even as fancy as I'm going today. You can be super simple with all of this. These are all really just cheap, cost-effective meals. These burritos work out to like less than £1 each or something like that. It's crazy. Okie dokie, cool. I've got my mushrooms and shallots already. Let's get a little bit of paper and wipe down my counter. Give my knife a little wipe over. So I'll take this chopping board over to the sink and give it a little bit of a rinse. Just 'cause it's got some mushroom kind of bits on it. Smells good. It smells like hamburgers in my house right now. I really want, actually, I'm really craving like an In-N-Out double-double at the moment with animal fries. Maybe if I have, like, if I do well with my little meal plan, and I'm trying to exercise as well. Like, I got a bit fat the last couple of months. I put on some weight since the US tour. I weighed myself today, and I was kind of like a bit heavier than I'd like to be. So maybe if I do well, I can give myself a little treat. I'll make myself a little kind of copycat double-double. Some animal fries, bro. Yeah, I would like to, like, ultimately, like, 'cause it's weird, I was talking about this on Discord the other day, like, with my kind of, I gain and lose weight really easily, so I have been, like, super up and down over the years, and it also depends on, like, how I'm doing with my life as well, and, like, that's one thing, if I get sad or depressed about anything, I quite easily overeat and kind of comfort eat things that I don't want. Like, there've been times in, like, the last month where I've sat down with, like, a box of, like, 5 cream eggs and just, like, inhaled all of them, and it's like, why am I doing this? It doesn't feel good, it doesn't make me happy, it's just horrible. But at the same time, whenever I go on any kind of like... Because normally I eat whatever the hell I want. Like, I don't regiment my food at all. I eat whatever I want, whenever I want, and I'm pretty, like, free about it. That's one of the joys about being able to cook, is I can just make whatever I want. But often that means I can make unhealthy food too. So, usually I don't eat whatever the hell... I eat whatever the hell I want, but... If I do have kind of some regiment with my food and regular exercise, I do lose weight really quickly as well. So I would love to lose about, like, 15 kilos. That would be ideal. I was saying on Discord as well, I've been like, in the last like 5 years, I've been anywhere from like about, like, not 65, anywhere from about 70 kilos to about 100. I've kind of been either side of that. That's how quickly and quickly I gain and lose weight. It happens that easily. These shallots are not staying in the pot. Almost done with the beef, haven't got much left to go on that. And I got one more round after this one. Get my little ground boys back out the fridge. Could turn the fan down a little bit now. Well, I hope everyone's having a good old week, having a good Thursday. I hope you've been having a nice time, doing stuff you enjoy. I was planning on doing a stream on Sunday. I haven't thought this really through yet. I should probably get on Discord and kind of... Oh, my cable's caught. Get on Discord and communicate this idea with everyone a bit better. But I was thinking about doing a Euro Truck Simulator 2 stream on Sunday, but making it like a kind of like a call-in show where you could call in on Discord while I'm trucking and, like, I don't know, ask me a question or tell me a problem or say something funny or tell a funny story. I think that would be really rad. So that's my kind of plan. I'd love to do that on Sunday. If any of y'all going to be around for that or would want to phone in, let me know. I'm entering an official Facebook hackathon on AR, and I'm going to make an AR recipe book. What, like alternate augmented reality recipe book? That'd be sick. Okay, not much left. I've used up all my beef. That'd be sick. Like, imagine if, like, you use your phone. Or I'd love it if it was, like, you use your phone and you hover it over an ingredient and it then gives you recipes for that ingredient. That would be sick. Or, like, nutritional information would be really cool. That'd be sick. Yeah, I'd be well into that. Well, if you need any, like, recipe ideas or shit for that, that'd be really... I'd be down to help. Let me know. That'd be cool if it gave you, like, meal ideas for that ingredient. Like, you hold it over eggs and it gives you, like, huevos rancheros or, like, a souffle or a Spanish omelette or something like that. Okay, this is pretty much done. I'm all way good with that. Just have a little clean up. Going to get rid of these shallot shells. The music seems to have stopped, which is weird because I haven't been streaming for an hour. Usually it stops at the hour mark. Let me just have a little look how it's going on. Has the music stopped? Yeah, the music stopped. Why? Anyway. You only have 30 days to make it. Oh my god, that's brutal. Well, yeah, let me know if you need any inspiration or anything for it. I remember being asked actually once. I was sitting when I used to work at a cinema. Well, there was like a kitchen at the cinema that I ran, and I remember I was hanging out with one of the cool managers because most of the managers there were dicks. I was hanging out with one of the cool managers, and he said to me, like, "What would you do if I said to you, you have to make a recipe, but you have to use popcorn as an ingredient because obviously cinema's full of popcorn?" And I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." And my idea was, you could make like a fried chicken breast or something like that, like a fried chicken, but get the popcorn and crush it up or put it in a food processor and make it into like crispy popcorn crumbs. And you could make like a kind of like almost like a semi-sweet kind of battered fried chicken using the popcorn as breadcrumbs. That'd be cool. Or you could make it into like a stuffing, because it's kind of pillowy and soft. You could make like a stuffing and have it with some kind of like pork dish. So my beef's all pretty much done. I'm just going to add the already cooked, well, that's a lot, already cooked beef back in, turn the heat right down, and just get in there with my spatula, just get chopping. You know what, this is not going to be enough. My saucepan is way too big. So here's where we're at. It's currently overflowing with ground beef. I'm going to take half this out, make this into more manageable chunks. I'm now going to turn this into, like, you know, taco beef, essentially. Yeah, that's way too much, wow. It's a lot of beef. Only a small frying pan. Here we go. So yeah, I'm just going to use my spatula and just kind of break this up into smaller bits. So it's kind of you got less big dry chunks of beef, because this is low-fat beef, so it does get a little bit dry. I wouldn't want to make a burger out of this for sure. This is only good for making kind of like things like this or spaghetti with. Okay. So next step, I'm just going to add a little bit of water just to kind of start building up a sauce. What this will do is this will help lift up all of the kind of lovely little soft brown bits of beef that are kind of cooked onto the bottom of the pan. Let's get a little bowl. It looks so weird having this fish bowl thing on here. So I'm just going to add, I've already seasoned most of the beef, but it could always use a little bit more. So I'm just going to add just salt and black pepper, which I have already just pre-ground here. My little dish. I'm going to add to it, got some just dried oregano. Love it. So I got quite a lot. I'm making quite a lot of seasoning. I'm making kind of magical taco dust. Just got some new bottle of red chili boys. Just some red chili flakes. Nice and spicy. Ground cumin. Again, you can, if you want, you can use fresh herbs, and you can like get whole spices and toast them and ground them yourself, but it's like, this is meant to be like easy midweek food. My cumin's ground, like dried, hang on. This is just meant to be easy midweek food. So, ain't no shame in using dried herbs and cheap spices. Just adding some smoked paprika, a whole bunch of that shit. I have some garlic powder as well, but I have a new one, because the one I had I didn't like. Where did I put it? Here we go. I have like a more coarse garlic powder here, which is like kind of like big visible granules, rather than, I don't like the garlic dust. The garlic kind of granules taste more like real garlic. And I have just some onion powder. I also have a sachet here of just like generic Aldi chili powder. And I'm just going to add some of this in because this has things like tomato powder, like yeast extracts and stuff like that, and thickeners in, and that's really good for like making taco beef. I mean, I can bolster it with some of my own spices, but this is going to kind of make it a bit more like kind of like a fast food burrito kind of thing. So I'm just going to add like some of that in as well. And that has like some like starch and thickener and stuff in it like that, as well as things that don't come in powdered form usually. Where are my spoons at? I had like loads of spoons that I washed up today, but I don't know where I put them all. But yeah, I'm always down to help. If you ever need any help with any kind of project that I might be of assistance for you, let me know. I'm always down to help. 30 days to make an AR app is pretty fucking insane though, so just going to give this a mix. So here we go. This is almost just like a dry rub or, you know, any kind of chili powder. Let's just add a couple big old yeets of this to my beef. This is going to mix with the water, and the powders and the starches are going to mix with the water and help make a kind of nice little, just kind of sauce to hold all this lovely fresh beef together. Ooh, that smells good. Sorry, I apologise for the language in this song if it's offensive. This isn't my choice, it's just on the playlist. My bad, bro. I mean, it's a fire song, but it just has some language that I wouldn't want to put on my stream because I'm not entitled to use that word, you know. Bruh. Anyway, here we go. So yeah, it's starting to come together. I don't know if you can see. Again, the camera's kind of letting me down here as they always do. This is kind of like turning into the nice kind of like amber color. It's kind of breaking apart more into this lovely little kind of smooth texture. Smells really good. It's going to be our perfect kind of lean, protein-filled, delicious taco or tortilla burrito filling. So I'm just going to go work through just one big batch at a time of this. Yeah, that's looking good. And you can let the starch kind of cook off as well. I can just add a bit more water here and there because there is quite a lot of starch in this powder, which is nice because it kind of helps kind of almost glue everything together a little bit. Like, I like it when you get that kind of like I love it when you get, like, in America, you get burritos that have, like, the beef and the beans mixed together. I love that shit. That's great. I'm not doing that today just for the sake of, like, ease, but that's my shit right there. So now I've got lovely, just kind of, like, moist and flavorful little chili beef. Cool. Just give that another minute, let that sauce just thicken up a bit more. Then we'll move on to batch 2 and I can start doing things like my mushroom shallots, getting the beans ready, getting the smooth beans ready. We are making smooth beans today because we're making refried beans. Oh my god, this picture is so, like, distressing. It's so weird, bro. Okie dokie. That looks lovely. Just putting that into a clean bowl. I hate how everything looks like green and grey on this fucking webcam. I'd love to get some better cameras, but it's like I can't justify the fucking expense, you know? As much as I'd love to keep pumping money into my YouTube when I do it just for fun, it's probably not the best idea. Right, cool, then with round 2. So just see the difference between, this is like kind of when it's done, and this is when it kind of goes in. So we have just like big kind of chunky chunks of beef right there. Just kind of seared and seasoned, but not really much else going on in it. And this is going to add everything else that we need to make it delicious. Just fucking some pepper in there. Where'd my powder go? Here we go. King Neptune's Poseidon powder. That's the secret ingredient in Krabby Patties, don't tell anyone. Yeah, that's fine, I can use all of that. And again, just get mixing and chopping and getting this beef kind of into nice little bite-sized bits. And all those powders and starches mixed up. Oh, Rose, you can't see what I'm doing, bruh. Having this dude staring at me is so weird. fucking love burritos. It's one of the best best. And like I love how it's like any food that's like bread with meat in it is so good. Like any kind of self-contained food that you don't need cutlery for, you don't need a plate for. Like it is its own plate. It is its own cutlery. That's like the best. Like I love Cornish pasties. I love sausage rolls. I love like stuffed naan breads and parathas. I love fucking heroes and kebabs. Like meat and bread. It's just like the best shit ever. Cool. It's looking good. Nice. Okay, that's all done. Get the heat down. Bring my bowl of beef boys back over. And we'll start just spooning him in. So we now have 1.5 kilograms of essentially taco beef. Nothing fancy, just real easy. I mean, you can make all these meals I'm making today, you can make just pretty much single portions of them. But what I'm doing now is because they scale up so well, and because the ingredients in them, all of these things I'm making today are super cheap. And it just means like you can spend like a couple hours on like a Thursday night making 15 of these bad boys, and then you've got burritos to last you for the next 2 weeks. Job done. Just put the rest of this on top. Okay, what I'm going to do with this pan is I'm just going to add a little bit of water, because I have this kind of like residue, which is all delicious, that's all flavour, so I'm just going to add a little splash of water. Let's put my beef somewhere out the way to cool down. Here's a nice little shelf. Just clean up my chopping board. Always remember to clean as you go, but it stops you from ending up with a nightmare mountain of shit by the end of your cooking session. By the end of the sesh, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, just add some water to that pan, get it going, start moving all the kind of... Because the water, as it heats up, it will kind of lift anything that's stuck to the bottom of the pan off. And you see all this kind of liquid come up. That's just pretty much just beef stock. Just bring it up to the boil, get all this kind of delicious bits off. Tilt the pan, go around. Wicked. That can just go over the beef. Extra flavour, easy. Easy money. You know what I'm actually going to do? I still have let's get this pan nice and hot actually, because there's still a little bit of residual oil from the beef in there. I'm just going to get this pan nice and hot. I can start adding in the shallots. Because that leftover kind of beef fat is perfect for cooking the shallots, and it'll just give them even more flavour. I ain't really too fussy about these. I could like sit here and cook them a little bit at a time. I'm just going to chuck these all in and just soften these. I'm not going to like expertly, perfectly caramelise them. That's fine. This can go in. I'm trying to kind of keep things as simple as I can today. Try not to use a million pans. This is meant to be just kind of easy midweek cooking. So, right, not too high on the heat again. I'm going to go in there with the pepper and the salt. It's always important to season every step of whatever you're cooking. You know, if you add a kilogram of shallots, they need seasoning. So I'm just going to add a little peak of, I'll go for some olive oil actually, just to help these kind of caramelize. And so I've said before, but the salt will help draw moisture out of the onions, and it will help them caramelize quicker. And of course the oil will help brown them as well and soften them and give them lovely flavour. So, just going to let these do their thing. While I'm working on that, I can start making the refried beans. Refried beans, like, again, it's like one of those things where you can, if you want, you can make it super complicated, or it can be the easiest thing in the whole world. I'm annoyed because I went to Aldi today. Aldi is like the closest supermarket to me, but it's not my favourite one. And so I couldn't get pinto beans, which are usually my favourite. I just got tins of kidney beans instead. Not my favourite, but they still work. I mean, all the beans do in this, it's just an extra kind of texture, and it's loads of protein and fibre. Beans are really, really good for you, and delicious. But pinto beans I know are the most OG. So what you can do, I mean, you can buy dried beans and soak them and cook them and use pork fat and render that out and cook onions down in them and all this kind of bullshit. Or, literally, simplest thing, don't even fucking drain them. I'm not even draining them, not even rinsing them. Just go straight in with their own liquid, because that liquid's full of lovely kind of starch and collagen and like pectin and stuff like that, which will help make the beans really kind of thick and creamy. We're just putting 3 big old fucking big fuck off tins of beans in there. Then you just go straight in the bin. Done with them. So they already have enough liquid in there to get them smooth. So I'm going to put these on one of the back burners because they don't need a huge amount of heat. Beans are, after all, already cooked. Come on, my shitty cooker doesn't want to work. Ugh. There we go. Oh, those shots smell fucking banging. Just want to give these a little move around. Don't want them burning. Not cooking these at crazy heat. Just trying to kind of get some sweat on them. A little bit of brownness. Let's bring us back over. Yeah, they look great already. Shallots definitely have their own kind of unique taste and smell to onions. Like I said, they are a bit milder, a bit sweeter. Nowhere near as harsh, not as oniony. And I like their kind of little thin, long strands like this. It's kind of less... Onions are a bit kind of chewy sometimes, and especially if they're not like... Especially if they're a bit kind of soft and not like fully caramelized, they can be a bit stringy, while shallots are kind of a little bit less like that. They're a bit more delicate, a bit less water in them as well. So yeah, just getting those kind of all soft and brown and lovely. So our beans are doing their thing on the back, they're just kind of heating up. To be honest, we don't even need to wait for these beans to heat up because they are already cooked. I'm just going to find my... see if I can get this... I'm swap these around for a second. Let's put the onions on the back burner, put the beans on the front. Just going to get my stick blender. Again, like one of the most useful, cheapest, easiest to use bits of kitchen gadget. Just, you know, super bog standard, like £10 from any supermarket. We're just going to go to town. I mean, like, I can, like, you know, cook dry beans from scratch and wait 6 hours for them to naturally break down, or do it with a potato masher. But this is just the easiest way. Just get in there. If you want to make refried beans in 10 minutes, this is how you do it. Just get in there. And you can go as smooth or as chunky as you like. Because sometimes if you cook these beans from scratch and you let them naturally cook down over time, they can end up getting too smooth and too kind of broken down for you. Or you might run out of time and they might end up too chunky. I like my refried beans smooth. Not too smooth, but... Here we go. So they look a bit grey at the moment and a little bit pink because they are kidney beans. But as it cooks down, they will start to darken. Alright, let's get my shallots doing good. Just rinse off my little blendy boy so it doesn't dry with sticky bean protein all over it. Just hard to clean. I think fetch a spoon for my beans. So already we're pretty much there with these. They're pretty thick. All we need to do now is just let this cook down for a little bit naturally. Oh, hi Victor, how's it going? I'll tell you what, you'd probably be horrified with me because I'm making the laziest burrito and laziest refried beans ever. But I hope you're having a good day. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate you being here. I'm just making some easy midweek meal prep stuff today, and I'm making a bunch of essentially just really easy, delicious, low effort steak burritos. And so I've just made some kind of very basic kind of like taco, you know, in air quotes, taco beef. I have just some little kind of sweated down shallots here, which are now good to go. I can take these out. Got some mushrooms, because I want to make it kind of healthy, so I'm going to have, like, you know, lean beef, lots of vegetables, lots of healthy beans that I'm not going to fill up with fat or cheese and stuff like that. I'll have a little bit of cheese in the burrito just for a bit of fun, and a bit of, like, calcium and protein. Okie dokie, right. Now I've just got my kind of, like, roughly diced mushrooms. These are all meant to be recipes that anyone can do at home. They're going to be super easy. In a sec, I've got all the hard work done on these burritos now. I'm just going to let everything cool down before I start wrapping them. I'm going to start moving on to our little chorizo and tomato soup, which is going to be take like 10 minutes. And then we have some little cakes that we're going to make later as well, which are a perfect some little chocolate ganache madeleine cakes that are a perfect little delicious treat in the morning with your coffee. But again, always want to season each element, so I'm going to season my mushrooms, just some salt and pepper. These don't really need any oil. I'm just putting them. The pan already has a little bit of oil in it anyway from the beef and from the onions. But mushrooms have so much moisture in them; they're just going to naturally release that on their own. All we're looking is just to cook these mushrooms. We don't want to kind of like beautifully roast or caramelize them or anything like that. Oh no! Well, I hope you enjoyed class, Victor. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you being here. With these beans, we're just going to let these start cooking down, and we can start adding stuff to them. I mean, it's going to be pretty much the same things we've already added, so to everything else. It's going to be. I need more salt. Just because I'm making huge portions of everything. Where's my big bag of molten salt gone? Just top up my little salt bowl. So again, just things like salt, pepper, some garlic and onion powder, some red chilies, some other kind of seasonings and bits and bobs. There's plenty of pepper. I love pepper. Pepper's the man. I'm Pepper, the pizza delivery dude with the food. I've got more degrees than Albert Einstein. So again, I'm just going to hit that boy with just some red pepper flakes. Whole bunch of just shitty garlic powder. Because chopping up real garlic takes time. Some onion powder as well. I got some, see... And I got my, where'd my dried oregano go? Bro, here we go. Just some dried oregano. And again, what I'm kind of aiming for with these beans, I want them to just be kind of neutral. Like, not a huge amount going on in them. Again, like, I've made, like, delicious beans before where I put fucking cheddar in them and I've used, like, chorizo fat to kind of saute vegetables and then cook that into the beans. But this is just a layer of just protein. It's got some saltiness to it, a little bit of flavor, a little bit of spice. Just some texture. Like, I want this burrito to be just like a food bomb of, like, all the good stuff you need. Just energy and protein and vegetables and deliciousness. So that's going to carry on doing its thing. Just slowly heating through. It's nice because when you take canned beans, as soon as you kind of like open them up, they kind of soak up a load more moisture. So these will cook down really quickly. And again, these onions have like halved in size in like the 1 minute they've been in this pan. Just because there's so much moisture inside them. And then we want to kind of get this moisture out because if we're freezing these burritos and then reheating them, they will just leach moisture into whatever you put them in. That's why it's always bad to put mushrooms, like mushrooms don't work on pizza because they have too much liquid in them. And it's like, unless you like really saute them to the point where they become rubbery, they're just not nice on pizzas. So many times I've tried to put mushrooms on pizzas and they end up just leaching water everywhere and it just kind of ruins whatever you're doing. Ooh, these beans are bringing up to the boil. Just turn that down, don't want them sticking. I cannot wait to eat one of these fucking burritos, I'm so hungry. I had Huel today for breakfast, and I had a soup, like one I'm about to make, and I haven't had anything else, so I'm hungry. I had a little madeleine cake this morning as well, that's pretty much it. I'm a hungry ass boy, let's get this bowl out of the way. Don't need all of this. Yeah, honestly, there's so much water in this pan of mushrooms, if you can see, it's everywhere. Just want to boil all that off. So these are kind of nice and pretty dry, and they're nice and small chunks now, so you can mix those into a burrito and like you won't even notice them. Just going to be there giving you health, boys. Whew! Let's take a break. I've been going for like an hour and a bit. I haven't breathed in a minute. I'll pour myself some excellent 2020 fine vintage Beppis. I have like a little cupboard in my house where like my electricity meter is, and it's really cold in that cupboard. So, and I haven't got anything else there. That's where I store my bottles of Beppis. So they come out and they're perfectly cold. I have a Beppis cellar. I'm like one of Pete Buttigieg's donors, but with Beppis instead of expensive wines. It costs $40,000 a bottle. And also, fuck that guy. Word. Oh, that's a beautiful, beautiful Pepsi Max. Let's have a vape break.
One thing, I find it really hard to get like good vape liquid. Because it's like when you buy this shit online, there's no reviews for any of them. And it's like, what the fuck am I actually buying? And then I buy like, because they're so cheap, they're like £2 a bottle. I buy like 3 or 4 bottles and they all turn up and I don't like any of them. That's why I love the Juul. The Juul is so good. The flavor's so good. And it's like, you know what you're getting, but it's so expensive. It's like 4 times the price of buying anything else. Right, so there's so much water coming out these mushrooms, it's like almost turned into a little soup, so just boiling all this water off. And so we have lovely, just kind of cooked, ready mushrooms. So these beans are looking good. Honestly, we only want to go to these thicken up, like we're not stressing out about this at all. And I've done the maths on these, because I'm kind of like weirdly... I've always been kind of like, for my whole life really, because I've always had like weird food habits. I've always kind of either been gaining loads of weight or losing loads of weight, and I've kind of become very savvy at working out like food's calorific value and stuff like that. So I've done the maths. These burritos work out to like 500 calories, and they're like this fucking big, and they taste really good. And you eat one of those, a big glass of water, you are full up for hours. So these are really, really awesome. Just get those beans going. So while I'm working on that, I can start dicing up some chorizo for our soup. Where did I put my chorizo? Here we go. I'll probably take the whole thing, that's fine. I fucking love chorizo. Chorizo is one of my favourite foods. I absolutely love it. I get through so much of it. And it's not the healthiest thing, like, because it does have quite a lot of like fatty parts of the pork in it, but retrospectively, it's so flavorful. Like this is 200 grams of chorizo, and this will be enough to make like 12 portions of soup. It's so like this much chorizo is enough to make a whole portion of soup taste incredible. That's all you need. So I'm just gonna start running down. I can't be asked to take the skin off, there's no point. The skin on this chorizo is pretty inoffensive. It's not like sticky or chewy. It's natural. And it's been like smoked and cured for such a long time it becomes quite mild. Right, just going to cut this into strips. Just down the middle. It's easy to make nice little dice bits. I mean, we've done this 1,000 times before. I use a lot of chorizo on stream, I'm sure you guys all recognise. But definitely like smoked, cured pork is like one of my fucking favourite things in the whole world. Weirdly, I'm not a huge bacon fan, but like salamis and sausages and stuff like that. Oh, I love it. Absolutely love it. It's incredible. I could just live off cured pork. It's so good. Just cut this into just some big strippies. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing. Sorry. Oh my god, this looks so weird. So just have just some pretty regular like hot chorizo. I'll tell you what, I wish the chorizo game in England was better. When I went to Spain last year and I got from like the most basic supermarket, like it was almost a gas station, they had like big baskets of just loose chorizo out in the open. They weren't even wrapped up, and they were like €2, and I took a load of them home and they were great. They were absolutely delicious. I wish we had that shit in the UK. I'd kill for that. Let's get going. So our mushrooms are still just reducing all the water. Our beans are reducing as well. Enemy of a good burrito is wet. Don't want too much wet ingredients. Want to make everything kind of nice and smooth and not too liquidy. Like if I put these beans in at the moment, they're just going to like make everything too runny. But I'm glad I didn't drain the liquid from the beans off, because that has loads of kind of good stuff in it and good tasty bits in it. Like it has, like I said, the collagen and pectin and all this delicious stuff that helps make the beans really smooth and creamy. So just by reducing it, we're just boiling off the water, so we're not losing all that kind of nice starch. Just keep slicing these bad boys up. Oh my god. Well, if anyone wants a fucking burrito in the next 2 weeks, come to Liverpool. I'll sort you out. Just watch out for the trees on my road. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I'm really fucking glad I didn't go out the other day. That sucked.
Oh my days. Although, I mean, like, I don't know why the dude fucking, like, saw the 90-mile-an-hour winds and was like, yeah, let's go out. Shit still sucks, though. I feel sorry for him. But yeah, storms are no laughing matter. Shit's dangerous. Debris, falling trees, poor visibility for driving, all that shit's really dangerous. Stay inside. I saw a funny thing actually on, well, I say funny thing, it's actually really sad, but I saw a thing on the news today that was talking about like there are now like 9 coronavirus cases in the UK, and it was saying like people should like try and just in general people should just try and avoid large groups of like what's the word, congregating in large groups, and try and kind of like quarantine yourself a little bit just to kind of reduce spread. And I'm like, it's fucking easy for me, I ain't going anywhere. Pretty much any place I go is a post office, and then I talk to them through the glass. Okie dokie. And especially there's a storm going on, it's pretty much impossible to get out and do anything. Yeah, these beans are looking nice, and like just the right amount of chunkiness, just the right amount of smoothness. Mushrooms drying out. I'll turn these off. They're done pretty much. Cool. So I got these kind of nice little like. It's almost. This is like the best spaghetti ever. Right. Gonna take some of my big old bits of mushroom. Mushroom? Bro, what am I smoking? Gonna take some big old bits of chorizo and just dice this. I mean, it's going in soup, so I haven't got to worry about it being perfect. But the chorizo kind of soaks up some of the moisture from the soup, and the bits get larger, so I can make these a little bit smaller, so they're kind of like nice little soup mouthful sizes, because they are going to get a little bit bigger. I'll tell you what, it's amazing how far one stick of chorizo will go in making enough soup for like 15 people. You only need the tiniest bit, and it tastes so strong, so delightful. You get that lovely kind of rich, porky flavour, the smoke, you get a little bit of that kind of creamy fat rising to the top. It's lovely. All the spices, especially because this is a spicy one as well. Like the tiniest bit of this chorizo will make a soup nice and spicy. Okay. I'd love to make my own actually. I got a thing, like a little kind of gag gift from my mum for Christmas, which is like it was like a curing set to make your own bacon, and it had like curing salts and stuff in it. All you need is just like a pork belly, and then you put the curing salts and the seasoning in the bag, and it has like little wood chips that you can smoke it with. I would definitely love to try making my own chorizos and stuff like that. This is like the one nice song on the whole playlist. Bruh. Making our way through all this chorizo. The only thing is, when you're making large batch kind of meals like this, you do the same thing for a really long time. Like I'm just sitting here chopping chorizo for like a good 15 minutes. Oh my god, we're an hour and a half into the stream already, bruh. Probably going to end up being a bit of a longer one today. You know, I am being quite ambitious. Well, I need to do it anyway, so I might as well be here. Hi, Koenig, how's it going? Hope you're having a nice day. I'm just doing some kind of like easy to make, large kind of batch food that we can kind of prepare in advance. Will keep really well in the freezer and allow you to have kind of a nice, delicious, healthy, nutritious kind of meal anytime you want. I'm making some kind of beef and vegetable burritos at the moment, and I'm now dicing some chorizo to make some tomato and chorizo soup. And I've got like a space in my freezer and loads of containers, so I'm going to make all these up, make loads of burritos up, so I've got enough like lunch and dinners for like 2 weeks to make things super easy on me, so I can focus on playing Red Alert 2 in my pants every day. Now I'm going to try and be a bit more productive. I know I keep saying it, I'm going to try and be a bit more productive over the next couple of weeks, but I'm just deciding what I want to do still. That's kind of one of the beauties. Now I've kind of like, I'm having a little bit of time off from doing music. I haven't got any musical commitments this year, so I'm just kind of like doing whatever the fuck I want, which is wicked. But it's nice because like I spent my whole life thinking like, oh, I really just want to do music, and now I've like done it. It's just kind of like, I can do whatever I want now. Like, I no longer have that white whale of like, I want to be, you know, I want to make records and tour. So I've done it now. I don't care anymore. I'm like, chill. Like, I mean, when I say I don't care, I mean that, like, I no longer have that like existential crisis when I think if I'm not doing it, you know? Because before it was like, you know, if I had the band didn't work out, or the album didn't go down well, or, you know, nobody was booking us for like my old bands and stuff that I did, it's kind of like, but this is what I'm supposed to do, and it's not happening, and I'm sitting here working in a cigar shop or a cinema kitchen, and my life is a failure. But now I'm like, bro, I fucking told the world that shit was lit. And it's like, if I get to do it again, fucking awesome, but if not, I've done it. Which is great, because it means that I can now look at whatever I want to do with my life without having that, like I said, that white whale on my back. Or because whenever I was like stuck in some shit dead-end job and I was trying to make music happen, it would always be nagging at me. It was always just nagging. Why aren't you doing music? Why aren't you doing music? Why aren't you doing music? And now I've been lucky enough to have done it. I can just chill. Where the fuck's all my cutlery gone? Like, I swear, I washed up like a whole bunch of spoons earlier and I can't find them. Damn. Right, just need to smaller spoon just to scrape the refried beans off my scoop. I do like this nylon cookware, I have to say. I know it's not very professional chef of me, but this shit's great. Like, it's flexible, it doesn't get hot. Because, like, especially because I have a gas cooker now, the gas, like, flame comes out and it makes your utensils hot. Like, nothing sticks to these nylon bits of nylon cookware. And they're just kind of, yeah, they don't get hot, they don't melt, they're perfect. Oh yeah, these beans are kind of, if I bring the camera over for a sec. The beans are getting thicker and thicker and thicker, so they're kind of like almost there. I still need to reduce it a little bit more. I'll take the mushrooms out in a minute after I finish dicing all this chorizo. Almost there. Now this looks like a lot of chorizo, but this is enough to make, like I said, good 2 weeks worth of soup. But yeah, my only kind of real objectives for this year are to... I was thinking like a month ago I wanted to get like 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, but now I'm like, I don't even know if I like care enough, you know? I want to have fun. Like that's why I do this. Like I want this to be I want this outlet to be fun. Like I was sitting there the last couple of weeks pressuring myself too much trying to make videos, and it's like, but I don't really have any ideas. And it's like, ideas come to you naturally. You can't force them, and I was kind of like making a couple videos and they weren't really working. And I'm just kind of like, I'm approaching this from the wrong perspective and the wrong attitude. You can't force it. Like, if I want to be creative and make YouTube videos and do loads of live streams and stuff like that, I only want to do it if it's going to be like well thought out and fun. So if I haven't got any ideas, like I'm trying not to punish myself for not having any ideas. But yeah, my only objectives for this year are pay my fucking bills. I want to watch every Formula 1 race, pay my bills. I want to get a bit healthier, feel a bit better about myself, and just chill. That's like it. That's all I want to do this year. And if I do anything else rad along the way, that'd be awesome. But if not, I really don't care. What sauce? Now I'm deciding what saucepan should I go for. I'm lucky over the years, largely from stealing them from... Ow. That wasn't this, that was something else. Largely from stealing them from places I worked from, I have a very large collection of professional cookware. It's like, oh, you're firing me? Oh, good thing I have that saucepan still at my house, you ain't getting that back, fucker. Because it's like, at the end of the week, there might be like some leftover meatballs or some shit. And I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll take them home, and I'll take home a container or a saucepan or a knife or something like that. And then I just never brought it back. So, fuck you if you've ever employed me. I own half your shit now. Arseholes. It's the very least they could do for fucking destroying my soul and paying me like £7.50 an hour to make them a shit ton of money. Right, beans are looking good. Let's get this pan on. So, big old saucepan on. I'm just gonna... It's getting hot. I'm just gonna start yeeting this chorizo in. And what this chorizo will do, it will now start to kind of gently saute. All of its natural fat will render out, and that will kind of help turn these little bits of chorizo into almost like little crispy bacon bits. It'll be delightful. Just gonna get the... Come on, crappy cooker. I fucking hate my landlord. Ugh. I'm really pissed off with my... I mean, I say I'm pissed off with my landlords at the moment. I've been pissed off with them for like ever since I moved into this house, so... I'm like preparing to like fight them over some improvements on my house they haven't made. I'm like, because they're like not wanting to work with me on some of the shit that needs to be fixed in this house. They promised they'd fix when I moved in, and I'm just gonna like not pay the rent if they carry on. There's like fucking black mold and shit in some of the rooms in my house, and you can like protest that. And I'm like, if you don't fucking fix that, you're not getting any more rent from me, assholes. Make a video about pedal effects. Yeah, I would. That would be cool. But the thing is, I don't know how I could frame that in a way that would be interesting, not just to people who know me as the guitar player from Caro Caro Bonito. Like, I'd love to. I mean, I love hanging out and doing shit for you guys, but I'd love to like make stuff that could be interesting to other people as well who don't know me. And it's like, if I'm just that dude from Caro Caro Bonito, if you have no idea who I am or no idea who Caro Caro Bonito are, then why would you care about my pedal setup, you know? I was thinking one thing that would be cool was like, if you did like, we were talking on Discord for some reason, we're talking about like classic Top Gear and my general kind of dislike for it, but we're talking about like some of like the challenges and stuff they did and how it was produced was really quite interesting and funny, despite all the horrible racism and bullying and awful shit Jeremy Clarkson and those other twats got up to. But I would love to do like cheap rig challenge. That would be jokes. Like, that's one of the things I've always prided myself on. None of my gear is expensive and I make it sound really good. If you gave me £400 for a guitar and a pedal board, I could smash that. £200 guitar, £200 on pedals. I mean, that's basically what my rig is anyway. It's pretty much £200 guitar and pretty much £200 worth of pedals. I would destroy that shit. Like, and I would love to like see what other people would come up with. Because there are so many great guitar pedals and great guitars you can get for virtually no money. Right, so our chorizo is just doing its thing. Gonna start. Already, that smells incredible. So many good smells in my house. So you can see kind of like this lovely kind of golden oil, which is just natural pork fat, is rendering out the chorizo, and it's getting lovely and crispy and perfect. I can take these mushrooms out from my other pan. Actually, these are done. Let's just pop this. It's just like, that's not hot. It's fine. Right, I need a little bowl or container for these mushrooms, so I'll just get one of these little food containers I have here. Let's just take these out. Try and get some of the moisture out there as well. I don't want all the liquid. But yeah, that would be fun. Like, obviously I'd have to find money for that somehow if I was doing that. But yeah, like have a look on Gumtree and eBay and try and find a really sick guitar for £200. And like, if it was like me and 3 other people, we could like see who got the best deal. But I don't know who I would compete with on that one. Oh, this song is copyrighted, so I'm just going to change this real quick. It's a really sick song, but it's copyrighted. Despite being in a playlist of royalty-free, copyright-free music. Okay, cool. Right, this frying pan's cool. I can just rinse all these kind of bits of mushroom detritus out of there. Oh, that chorizo smells fucking banging. Right. Ooh, baby. That's a good sound and a good smell. I can turn the heat down now. I don't need to overdo this. So I'll go put the little finished sauteed mushrooms with shallots just out there off camera. See all that like golden oil. It's so delicious. And the thing is, you could drain this off, but having this in the soup, because as the soup cooks for a long period of time, you get this beautiful emulsion of the oil and the soup, and it gives you this absolutely delightful, just creamy, delicious perfection. Like, having a little bit of oil is not bad. I feel like watching a terrible movie today, Harley Quinn or Sonic. Well, I think the idea with Sonic is it's like a fucking car. I don't actually know, but what I would imagine the Sonic film is like a fucking car crash. But I imagine the Harley Quinn film is just boring. Like, neither of those films would really be the kind of thing that I would watch, but at the same time, I'm not like, these films are a disgrace. Like, and I think the whole like people hating on Birds of Prey thing is fucking weak. But I would imagine the Sonic film is more of like a hilarious failure. I think the Harley Quinn film is probably just really boring. Like, I know I was bored the other day, and I ended up watching like a bunch of clips from random films on YouTube, like those like watchmovie.com, whatever it is, clips. And I watched a bunch, because I'm not a comic book fan film fan at all. I don't care about it at all. And I ended up watching clips from the Suicide Squad film. And I remember I was working at a cinema when that film came out, and everyone was like, "It's fucking shit." And I watched some clips from it, and it was so boring. It would be like shit action scene, and then someone makes a joke, and then Seven Nation Army starts playing. I was like, man, this fucking sucks. And it's like, I'm not a comic book guy at all, but I appreciate that some of these characters are fucking rad. Like, Harley Quinn's a fucking rad character, and I think, like, Margot Robbie's really cool, and I thought her portrayal of that character was really cool. And it's like, this could have been so good, but instead it's just, like, the most boring, designed by committee, like, synergy, branded, middle-marketed bullshit, you know? And I totally get why people thought it was weak. That's kind of what I feel a lot with those like Marvel films, and that's what I feel like a lot of the new Star Wars films too. They're too like workshop. They're too middle managed. There's too many cooks trying to like target market too many things with them. Right, so I've just turned the chorizo down. I'm gonna get I need my fucking marigolds. I'm just gonna get my blender back because it's in the sink, just chilling. After I rinsed all the beans off it, just gonna give that a rinse. I'm just gonna start. I've got these tomatoes here. I have 3 tins. I'm going to do 6 in total. I have... Oh my god, that was fucking Oh, that's fucking horrifying. Look at that. That's fucking wrong. Anyway, I've got 3 tins of tomatoes here. I'm just going to puree those. And stick them in my soup with the chorizo. Just giving my little... I have to wear these gloves because otherwise my hands get sore from washing up. Just giving my little... blender tip a little rinse. Just make sure there's no beans on it. James the magician, I know. James the world's worst musician. That was fucking Freudian. James the world's worst magician, not musician. James the world's like most okay musician. James the good at one thing musician. Just stirring our little chocolate ganache boy we made earlier. Ganache. That was good. Right. Cool. Let's get the heat back up on that so it's nice and hot for when the oil, the tomatoes come in. I swear this song's come up like 4 times. So I'm just gonna yeet this boy in the blender. Oh shit! Sprayed it everywhere. Gently, and just turn that into just like we're just trying to make this smooth. Like this is just like chopped tin tomatoes, and now we're just making them smooth because I don't want to get giant chunks of tomato in my soup. I'll clean this fucking mess up in a sec. So the reason we want the oil nice and hot is so when we add a little bit of the soup or the tomato base, we mix it in with the oil and it will emulsify. It's like when I was making the curry and you want to add like the liquid ingredients to the oil or the water-based ingredients to the oil-based ingredients kind of gradually. And so now it kind of forms this like really perfect little orange kind of sauce where the natural oil from the chorizo is blending in perfectly with the tomatoes. Because if you don't, they'll separate. Like oil and water naturally want to separate. And by doing this, you encourage them to emulsify. And then kind of like the oil takes on like another level in the tomatoes where it adds this kind of like smooth creaminess running through it. So that's all we need. That's pretty good. Now we can add the rest of it and build up from there. And as long as you keep stirring it nicely, it won't separate. Because it's really bad if you separate, because then you have this kind of like just thick layer of like grease on top of the soup, and that's not nice. Our beans are pretty much done. I can turn this off now. Ooh, they're nice and thick. I can always thin that out with a little bit of water if it gets too thick. Cool, I'm just going to clean this mess up. I've got tomatoes everywhere by accident. Bruh. Dun, 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 dun. I do like a lot of soup. Again, I made a lot of soups in my time as a chef, because it's like the ultimate thing, because it's like you can make soup out of pretty much anything. If you have any ingredient like that you need to use up, or if you have any kind of vegetable that you want to use up, and it's always a nice thing to do seasonal stuff of as well. So your boy made a lot of soups in his day. Right, I'll add another 3 tins of tomatoes. Oh, god damn. I love stuff like like celery, celeriac soup. I love wild mushroom soup. Oh my god. If you make tomato soup with fresh tomatoes, it's incredible, but it's just a lot more work. It's more expensive, and also tomatoes are super seasonal as well. Like, if you get tomatoes any time other than like August, they're just bad. Like, that's why, like, that's one of the things that like bugs me. I don't like fresh tomatoes that much because they're just not very good. That's the problem. Like, all the ones you get, they're never in season, and the varieties of tomatoes they use are terrible because kind of the modern food, like modern kind of farming industry grows these tomatoes that are very red, and they shouldn't be that red. They should be closer to a green colour, or more reddish green, and they're too firm, and they're not sweet at all, and they're just watery and really bland and just suck. And that's because they want to pick red tomatoes are more visually appealing, and people will buy a red tomato over a greenish one. And the firmer tomatoes break less when they're harvested by machines. And so unless you get like good tomatoes from like the farmer's market at the end of August, you're buying just out of season garbage variety tomatoes, and they just taste terrible. That's why I'm like, if I get a burger and it has a sliced tomato in it, I'll take the shit out. It's the intro song again. Right, let's go. Like, a couple more tins of tomatoes. The reason I'm doing this, I'm just pre-blending them in this jug, just because. Oh shit! I kind of need to have a bit of a declutter. If I blend these in the pot, it'll oh shit! It'll blend up all the chorizo as well. Well, that fucking one isn't opening. Get a can opener. The ring came off my pudding can. Here, take this, my good man. Monorail. Come on, you bastard. And now, because this one has a ring pull on it, you can't open it with a regular can opener properly. There we go. God, I hate when tomatoes splish splash everywhere. Right. That's enough tinned tomatoes to feed an army. Where's the tomato juice? What do you mean? I'm just using like regular, just 10 tomatoes. No, 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 no. Oh god, this isn't quite reaching. Cool, that's done. Oh, I like this song. Okay, cool, right, tomatoes are all done. Let's get rid of this. We can start wrapping some burritos up next, which is going to be really fun. Cool, so we have here, this looks kind of like now somewhat uninteresting. It looks just like a large vat of tomatoes, which it is, but it has chorizo running through it. So again, I'm just going to give this boy a pretty liberal season with some salt and pepper, just to get it going. We can add some other goodies to it as well to kind of keep it going throughout the cook. Because now essentially we can just leave this to it. Kind of to take it up another level, you don't have to do this, you can use dried basil if you can't get fresh basil easily. Luckily, Aldi is good for fresh herbs, so I just got some fresh basil here. I'm just going to take a good like 3 big stalks, just going to put those in, and then what they'll do is they will kind of almost act like they'll steep like a tea bag almost. We'll just add lovely aromatics to the soup. But what I like to do is you can take them out later, because if you leave them in too long, they can turn bitter. And like, if I am then to like batch cook this, so I'll be portioning it and freezing it, herbs don't freeze well, and they turn really kind of bitter and gross, and kind of almost like they appear, they wilt, and they kind of look almost a bit rotten. So I'm gonna just put these in for flavor, and I'll take them out later. And putting them in with like the stalks and everything as well adds a load of flavor. I'm also gonna add, I wonder how much of this do I have? I'll go for the fresh one. Oh, excuse me. I just have some proper Parmigiano Reggiano, proper Parmesan, not shitty Grana Padano. Or the other one. That does irk me. Like, bad, like hard Italian cheese that's not proper Parmesan, but is the same price. It's like I go to the supermarket and they can have Parmigiano Reggiano or Grana Padano at the same price. It's like, bruh. I think Grana Padano is vegetarian, while I know proper Parmesan is not vegetarian because it contains rennet, which is like a enzyme that comes from cows. But it's like a... Oh, word. Yeah, I know. I imagine you get way better fucking tomatoes in Chile than we do in England. The ones we get here are terrible. So, let's see. I'm going to get my scales out so I can weigh this, because Parmesan is quite a dry cheese, it's very concentrated in both flavour and energy, so getting the wrong size hunk will have a load of calories in it. So I want to kind of... This is for flavour, but not for making our soup incredibly unhelpful. So I was thinking I put about 20 grams in, and I made one that was about a third of the size of this batch. So if I go for like 60 grams, how much is this? So 60 grams is about 240 calories. That divided by like 12 is almost nothing, but it will be an incredible amount of flavour. So just breaking myself off a big old wedge. But yeah, I bet like the real... Oh, right. Hi Alex, how's it going? We're just making some pretty basic, simple home food today with our demonic chopping board of doom. Actually, hang on, let me just see. Let me just weigh this. That's 41 grams, so I'll need a bit more than that. I'll grate this and I'll chop off another hunk. Yeah, we're just making some pretty simple batch cooked food that's really easy to make in large quantities and you can just prep and freeze. I'm making kind of like my next couple weeks worth of lunch and dinners. I'm making some kind of pretty nice... Oh, that's perfect. I'm making some pretty kind of healthy and balanced like beef and vegetable burritos, and I'm making some chorizo and tomato soup, which I'm going to have for my little lunches. And then I'm just going to be super easy, eating the same thing for a couple weeks, trying to kind of focus on not overeating junk food, making it taste delicious at the same time. So, right, I'm just going to start shredding this Parmesan. I like fresh, like getting fresh Parmesan and grating it yourself better than the pre-shredded one because it doesn't melt properly. That means you get to smell lovely fresh grated Parmesan in your house, which is delightful. And by adding this into the soup now, rather than adding it at the end as a garnish, it goes way further, because like when you add fresh cheese at the end, you kind of like don't really appreciate it as much, and you end up putting too much in, but a tiny bit like 5 grams or something like that, like 5 grams of Parmesan per portion is incredible, and this, when it's been slow cooked in the soup, will taste absolutely fantastic with all that chorizo. Like fresh basil, a whole stick of chorizo, and a nice big hunk of Parmesan sitting in that sauce, cooking down for an hour or so, it will taste magical. Okie dokie. So that's a lot of cheese. Oh god. So if I just switch the camera over to here, oh, that's a lot of Parmesan. Parmesan's very strong. But for an extra like fucking not even close. For an extra like fucking 20 calories a portion, that's a huge flavour bomb. I think I worked out these soups before, so a nice like kind of about 300 mils of this soup, which is like a nice little lunch portion, is like 180 calories. And again, it's super delicious and it's really, really filling because it's nice kind of lots of protein and liquid, which are the two things you need to kind of fill you up healthily without having loads of carbohydrates. So that'll kind of smoothly cook down. And again, the added fat in the Parmesan as well will help to kind of emulsify with the tomato, make this beautiful, silky, smooth, delicious soup. Ooh, baby. Let's just finish off this little nugget of Parmesan. Yeah, it is a bit sad, especially in England at the moment. With all the Brexit shit going on, the quality, I have mentioned this before, but the quality of fresh produce is just getting worse and worse. Like, all of the meat I buy from the supermarket, it smells old. Like, you can tell it's not perfectly fresh. And the quality of fresh vegetables and fruit has been really bad. I mean, it's winter as well, but I have noticed, since the vote happened, I have noticed things have gotten worse and worse because there's more problems with... Like, all companies are less likely to be working on imports and exports now. There's more bullshit going on with the border. There's just been general, like, kind of bullshit poverty and shit happening in Britain as well. So, I have definitely noticed a decline in the quality of fresh ingredients, fresh fruit and fresh vegetables and fresh meat. It's fucking whack. Like when you go to America and you try some of the stuff there, like some of it's better and some of it's worse. Like fruit in America is fucking scary, or the GMO fruit when you get apples that are this big, horrible, and they taste of nothing. It's horrible. But then you go to like fucking Spain, and then I go to like a restaurant, and just the vegetables alone, not even the fish or the meat, is incredible. Right, I think green. No, we're not quite done with green chopping board yet. He's clean. He hasn't had, you know, anything raw on it yet. We can carry on using green chopping board. I'm just thinking about what I was going to add to the soup, other than I was going to put some other vegetables in there. We can make now some... Yeah, let's make some burritos. Okay, cool. I can get rid of green chopping board then. I'll get rid of Mr. Sharp stabby knife as well. Put green chopping board out of the way for a bit. Right, cool. So it's burrito rolling time. I warn you in advance, I'm not terribly good at this. This is kind of... has been for a long time my one weakness, and I've gotten better at doing this. Like, you should have seen me 2 years ago trying to make a burrito. I'm fucking hopeless. I just never knew how to roll them, and I've kind of gotten better. Like, that's one thing I was always so impressed with whenever I got Mexican food in America. How fucking good they roll those burritos. They make that tight, everything's perfectly in, and I love how you get a good, like, the ideal, like, tortilla to meat or filling ratio. I don't like it when you end up kind of like having too much tortilla and there's not enough in it. It's always so sad. I loved how people could take like one normal sized tortilla and make it huge, and like it's just perfectly wrapped. It's like there's no overlap, like it all perfectly joins. Exquisite. Right, so I have here, oh, that's a big boy. Ugh. Big boy of beef. All right, let's get these bowls out of the way. So this is just our kind of seasoned, delicious taco beef, and if I try a little bit of that, that's fire. Garlicky, it's spicy, it's a little bit kind of sweet and smoky. I have here some, I'm just going to finish my mouthful. Just sauteed mushrooms. I'm going to try and kind of work my way around the liquid on these because there's still some mushroom water at the bottom. That'll be all good. A little bit of pepper in my throat. I have here just some little kind of sweated down shallots. I'm also going to add in some cheese. I have here some... I'll kind of mix up everything I've got in my fridge. I have just two different kinds of cheddar, and I have just some grated mozzarella as well. These are all just cheap, shitty bagged grated cheeses. They're all just really cheap and easy. Let's get a bowl out. So I know roughly what all of these ingredients kind of equate to calorie wise, so I'm just going to kind of make sure I'm weighing and keeping all the ingredients consistent. I like when you get like different kinds of cheese or different colored cheese. Like that's a very like American thing when you get different colored cheese and it kind of all blends in, and you kind of get that nice little multicolored cheese thing. Let's put some back in the fridge. That one's brand new. I only got that one today. Let's give that a little toss. Yeah, I like the different color and different texture. So I have like regular cheddar, mature cheddar, and mozzarella. I'm probably not going to need all of this, but whatever, I'll put it back in the fridge. Oh, it looks so... Oh, it's got the chroma key on. I'll turn the chroma key off now we got rid of the chopping board. Just having a sip of the bet. Oh, let's turn the soup down. That's too hot. It doesn't need to be that hot at all. Just do its thing and just kind of cook down. We don't need to worry about overly reducing the soup too much. It can be chill. Let's go on to webcam 2 and just turn the chroma key off because it's fucking with us. There we go. And this cheese looks even more fucking bright yellow. Okie dokie, cool, right, let's get some tortillas. I might have to take the headset off of this, sorry. Just realised in the deafening silence I can turn off the extractor fan. So, oh my god! So here is our kind of slightly overcrowded workstation for now. I've got 2 big packs of tortillas, one from Co-op, one from Asda because fight me. Let's go with the Co-op tortillas first. They're probably the most patrician. Co-op is like one of the most patrician UK supermarkets because it's like not too fancy, but it's good. It's not like Sainsbury's and Waitrose are up themselves, but it ain't Tesco either. Just gonna just click on the music so it stays on. Okay, so this is pretty damn simple. Let's get these tortillas all separated. Some of these are a bit folded over. Let me just sort that out. Oh, this does my head in, like, folded bit on the tortilla. Bruh, you had one job. No, don't tear. Don't tear, devil. Scales, that's the most important part here. Oh shit. Digital scales are like the most important thing in the kitchen. They're so good, like for a variety of reasons. Just gonna set my plate on top of that. Picking a square plate so I can actually see the display. It's on my side, you can't see it, but I can see it. So what I'm gonna do... Oh, this torn tortilla is doing my head in. So I'll just start off with tortilla boy. These are kind of all about the same, so I'll just zero the scales. First thing I want to do is... Let's bring this over as well, so I've got the beans. Oh my god, there's so much here. I suppose beans are probably more important than mushrooms, so I'll put that there. Oh my god, there's so much going on. Right, that works. I'm trying to get everything on camera as well. So firstly, I think I'm going to go for about 80 grams of beans. Let's just zero the scales. See how that looks. So that's 86 grams of beans. I'm going to get a spoon so I can spread that out. There's a lot going in these burritos, so I can keep the layers separate. Fuck it, knife will do. That's 87 grams of beans, which is quite a lot. That can go down there, and then we'll go for... Damn, I need more spoons. Where are all my spoons gone? I swear I washed up like all of them. Okay, I'll go for a little slotted spoon. Let's go for about, say, like... I'll try like 100 grams of beef, see how that looks. Once I've got the test prototype done, we can just power through this. It'll be like a little production line. So that's 90. 90 looks about right. Cool. Oops. Suppose I can use my hands. So next I'm going to use the flamingo cheese, pretty much. I did, Matthias. I watched it while I was getting ready today doing the washing up. Just zero these scales. I did. I loved that. Was really cool. You see his face. He looks like really sad. So I'm now gonna go for like 25 grams of cheese. Not a whole lot, but enough to add to the burrito. That's all we need. And I watched that Metal Gear Solid 2 documentary. I've seen that before, but I loved watching it again. So 25 grams of cheese. Next, let's add like a little pinch of shallots. How's that? Like, let's get 20 grams in on there. Just for some texture. That's 19, that's close enough. And then, where did my mushrooms go? Here we go. Let's add, like, not very much of this, because they're so cooked down you're going to need a tiny bit. That's about 20 grams as well. Much heavier because they're wetter. Alright, cool. So, oh my god, I'm running out of space. Take this off. Now I'm going to try and embarrass myself by trying to roll this burrito. So we have beans. I could probably do less beans on the next one. Less beans, more beef. So I have beef, beans, cheese, shallots, and mushrooms. I'm just going to bring my edges in. And roll. And there we go. That's not bad. Definitely not as good as your abuela, but for a 27-year-old British dude, I think I'm pretty happy with that. Right, cool. So now I'm just going to take my little burrito boy, just stick him out the way. Rinse and repeat. Soup's looking good, just giving it an occasional stir. So again. So let's go again. Like So that's going to be delightful and meaty and flavorful all the way through. Going to have lovely crunchy veggies all the way through. Smooth, kind of flavorful beans. Go 25 grams of cheese. Excellent. Right, now let's add 20 grams of shallots. I want to keep zeroing the scale in between rounds. A couple more. And then a little pinch of mushrooms. Excellent. Yeah, I love watching. I also saw a cool video today about the like various abandoned or unfinished Metal Gear Solid game kind of concepts, which is really cool. I would have loved to have seen the game about the boss and the Cobra unit in World War II. That would have been really cool. I love the boss. I think she's a really awesome, fascinating character. I want to see a story about the boss going in space. Like, I love that story about how she was like really the first person in space. That shit would be fucking fascinating. I'd love to see the boss prequel. Or like her training young John. That would be cool. Right. I'm getting fucking tired. Zero my boy out. Can't see the fucking display on the scales. Cool, nice. Beefy boy time. Can't wait to start making the cakes, bro. Just a little tiny scoop. Excellent. 25 grams of cheese. That bit of cheese has got some beans on it, so I'll add that one in. Getting there. Nice. This kind of reminds me of working at Subway. I have to say, it's funny because I mean, like when I worked in Subway, I had experience of working in real kitchens, but it was just like I knew the guy that owned the shop, and he was really nice to me. So I just went and whenever I needed money or work, I just went and worked there for a little bit. And it was so funny because I can cook really well, and like I'm sitting there just like making Subway sandwiches, and I'm like, this is the easiest shit ever. But I always used to pride myself and work really hard on it. Like other people's sandwiches look like shit, but my ones look really good. And I used to kind of like, when it wasn't too busy, I like make the sandwich, it looked perfect. I'd like hold it up with my gloves, and they'd be like, look, it looks just like the picture. And the customer would go, My other favourite Subway prank was a really easy upsell. When a bunch of lads come in, you go, alright lads, footlongs, yeah? And then like, if they're like, lads, if one of them doesn't want a footlong and they want a 6-inch, all their friends call them names. And call them homophobic slurs. So that's a really good way to make your Subway store make more money. By appealing to idiots' fragile masculinity. I picked this one up as well from one of the guys I work with who was fucking hilarious. He was like stoned all the time. And Subway has the sandwich, the Italian BMT, and it stands for like the place it was fucking made or some bullshit. And he would always say to people, you know what the BMT stands for? And they go, no, and he'd go, big man tings. And that's just so fucking funny. When you say that to like a 14-year-old in Subway, they always piss themselves laughing. The other one he used to do was he used to say, cheese on your balls, if you wanted a meatball sandwich. And he'd say it in like the funniest way. He'd go, cheese on your balls. And then someone's like, so fucking funny. That was like one of the most jokes places I worked. I never did any work. I just sat under the counter and watched like football on my phone. If someone wanted a sandwich, I made them a brilliant sandwich, but then I didn't do anything else because Subway's not a huge amount of effort to work there. Yeah, if you ever want an easy job, go work at Subway in a rural town. Right, next one up. So we're kind of working our way through. We've already got 4 burritos. I kind of made this one the wrong way round, to be honest. I love tortillas. Even like bad supermarket tortillas are banging. I tried to make my own flour tortillas so many times, but I could never get them right. They always end up too dry or too thick, or they stick to everything. I'm too much of a gringo to make good flour tortillas. That's some like next level shit making those.
That's fine. Okay. Adding the meat. Oh, that meat looks so good. It's so like fucking juicy. Yeah, I do low-key miss the Subway hustle. That was really funny. I just miss the people I used to work with. I used to work with one guy who was like before a major coke dealer, and then he went to jail. And hearing his like coke dealing stories was hilarious. It was so funny because he used to be like, oh, you know, I used to be like, I didn't feel comfortable unless I had $3 in my bank, and now we're both there working at Subway, and I'm just like, dude. I hope that guy's okay. He left one day, and I didn't keep in touch. I mean, I didn't really like know how to keep in touch with him. I didn't even know what his last name was. We only worked together for about 3 months, and he just one day wasn't there anymore. But he was great. I hope he's doing all right. Good old Lawrence. He was a wicked dude. And he was there like on the Saturdays with me when I used to play like Death Grips and weird shit on the PA system in the Subway. This was like back in 2012. In like my shitty hometown, playing like weird ass music and like being weird to the customers. It was really fun. How many fast food chains? I worked at McDonald's, my first job ever, and I worked at Subway. I worked at a Carluccio's Italian restaurant, which you might as well call fucking fast food because they put lasagnas in the microwave there. Don't ever go to Carluccio's. Fuck that place. Apart from that, I worked in independent places. They're the only like chains I've worked in. Out of all the food jobs I've had, Subway is easily the most fun one. That's the one where I was the subject to the least violence and got threatened the least and got to piss about the most. But yeah, though I haven't done any food work for like 4 years, and I don't ever want to do it again. The only cooking I want to do is like this, where I'm chilling in my home, chatting with my friends, and making 2 weeks worth of burritos because I'm bored. We need a bit more than that. I definitely do not want to work in a professional kitchen ever again. Fuck that for so many reasons. It's not right. Like, again, if they took the bullshit out of that job, it would be so good. It would be so fun. If they paid you a little bit better and they didn't treat you to inhumane working conditions, if you had any kind of job security, if all of the macho bullshit and workplace abuse was taken out, I'd love working in the kitchen. If I just got to turn up and cook some food and clean up, that'd be wicked. But the fact that, you know, restaurant industry margins are so tight, you're always, you know, restaurants work at like 5 to 10% margins, so you're barely making any money. And so it just means that there's so much pressure at every level to perform, and it just means that the people on top put pressure on the managers, and the managers put pressures on the, like, you know, everyone else, and then the staff just get the worst of it. It's absolutely awful how, you know, your average line cook or kitchen porter gets treated. They get treated like they're not humans. McDonald's is pretty chill though as well. That was my first place I ever worked. To be fair, I only ever worked on the weekends and like school holidays, and all I did was work grill. That's all I did was just make Big Macs and cheeseburgers and the occasional quarter pounder. That's pretty much all. And breakfasts. That was pretty much it. And McDonald's is like so regulated and everything is so done by procedure. There's like no ambiguity. You always have like close to enough staff. That's like one of the only places I've ever worked that wasn't chronically understaffed. There was actually enough people to do out what they set out to do. But they'd have like they'd make like £10,000 an hour in that place. And it's staffed entirely by children. Like the senior managers at McDonald's are like 22. And the vast majority of their workforce are like 16-year-olds like I was. Which is actually really fucked. Considering they're paying us, I was earning £4.38 an hour when I worked at McDonald's. £4.38, which was the minimum wage for an under 18-year-old. Just fucked. Minimum wage should be the same for everyone. Just because I'm 16 doesn't mean I need that fucking money any less than a 21-year-old. £10 minimum wage for everyone. Fuck that shit. That's what we need. That's what my boy Corbs would have given us all, but whatever. We're reaching like real esoteric hours right now on the burrito making stream. 1:15. There we go.
cannot wait to fucking demolish one of these burritos. But later on, when we're done. Great. I'm pleased how quickly we're speeding through these, actually. So after this, all we have to do is make the cakes, pretty much. And that's the easiest part of the day. That's the least effort. Soup's looking good. Well, I hope my burrito technique isn't too embarrassing. I hope it's not too bad. Alright, see that's where I'm an amateur. These little triangles here. Let's fold that in. See, when you toast this, when you heat this up and you toast it in a little pan just to kind of seal it, that doesn't matter. Can't see. Can't read the scales. My plate's not balancing. Yeah, that's fine. No, tipping is not a huge thing, and I'll tell you why my issues with that. I mean, tipping as a concept in general is bullshit, and it's some Great Depression bullshit made up by, like, arsehole capitalist Americans where, oh, we're not going to actually pay you anything, but then the customers are now obliged to tip you, but they'll give you a tip you bigger if you work extra harder, and it's basically a way of not paying you but making you work harder, and then, you know, relying on essentially everyone else being peer pressured into paying your fucking bills for you. And it doesn't really happen very much in the UK, but like bartenders will get tipped and servers will occasionally get tipped. Not everywhere, but and not by everyone. But if you're working at like an average restaurant, I tip servers. Whenever I go, I tip them. But the thing that pisses me off is, in a lot of these places, because restaurants are so badly fucking managed because there's no management and everyone's just like, nobody there has any fucking clue what they're doing because restaurants are just a mess. The tips aren't monitored properly, and then servers end up taking them home. And some ones that are very charismatic or very popular or kind of, you know, can end up making a shit ton of money. But everyone in the restaurant's on minimum wage. The line cooks, minimum wage. Servers, minimum wage. The kitchen porters, minimum wage. And I know from a fact that line cooks and kitchen porters work way harder than servers and have it way worse. That's just a fact. That's not up for debate. That's a fact. And it used to piss me off so much when those fuckers got tips and I didn't. When I was the one cooking the meals, earning their tips, and they're going home every day with an extra 30 quid in their pocket for basically carrying out the fucking plates of food that I cooked. Some places, they make you share your tips out. They collect them up and they say, right, tips all go in here, everyone gets a fair share, which is how it should be. Or they should just say, actually, no, don't tip our staff because we pay them a living wage, which no restaurants do. That said, I still do always tip. I always tip Uber drivers, taxi drivers, rideshare drivers. I always tip servers and staff when I can as well. Just because I know how hard their lives are and how hard their jobs are, because I lived it for years. Yeah, I imagine Chuck E. Cheese is very much on that tip. To be honest, one thing I found really surprising in America was I wouldn't have expected this at all, especially considering how fucking xenophobic a lot of America is. How in almost every town that wasn't like New York City or LA, every single shop you went past had help wanted signs in. Like if you pass through like any town USA when you're on the road, every restaurant, every shop, every store, everywhere, help wanted, help wanted, help wanted, help wanted. There's just a shortage of workers. Just fucking balmy because so many Americans are obsessed with the concept of somebody who's not from America taking their job. It's like, bro, there's fucking jobs everywhere. At least that's what I could see. Oh, damn. But yeah, I think that, like, I know, for example, I know at, like, David Chang, Momofuku's restaurants, he doesn't allow tipping. That's because the servers actually, well, all the staff actually get paid correctly. But yeah. But I definitely am not into the idea of a server keeping all of the tips while the kitchen porters who work really fucking hard and the line cooks who work really, really hard not getting any of that. Because, like, people assume, this is such a bullshit principle, like, people assume that chefs get more money than servers. They don't. Everyone's on minimum wage. Every single person, the people that aren't on minimum wage, like the supervisors or like the fucking heads of section. I know because I used to be head of antipasti at one restaurant I worked in. You get like 20p more for leading the whole section. It's bullshit. And so I think that's really unfair. Oh my god, it's like the same as well. Once when I was a bartender for a while, we got our tips, and we were supposed to give 20% of our tips to the barbacks, to the people who stock up the glasses and wash them, and kind of do all the, like, you're there making the drinks, they're kind of doing all the supply stuff. And I always did that, but I never made many tips when I was a bartender because I wasn't very good, and I'm not very charismatic at peddling drinks to people. So one thing I always remember was some dude came in once. I worked at this really shit bar in London. It was horrible. I hated it. I only worked there for about like a couple months. And some guy came in once, and he was like, "Can I get 2 Courvoisiers with cider?" And I'm like, "You want 2 Courvoisiers and 2 ciders?" He's like, "No, I want Courvoisier mixed with cider." And I'm like, "Are you trying to black out?" So I poured him 2 double Courvoisiers, 2 bottles of Magners, poured that shit in the glass. And he was like, "Thank you." He took them both. He was like young, smartly dressed, like dude with some money. I'm just like, you're gonna fucking. I'm not gonna be like peeling you off the floor in an hour's time. Jesus Christ. That's like 6 drinks. Anyway, cheesy boys. I'm quite pleased we're actually getting through the cheese. I thought I'd have a whole bag of cheese left, but we're using it all up. I'm quite pleased how I managed to accurately proportion all these ingredients. Everything's kind of nicely balanced. Oh, damn. I'm trying to think about some of my other kind of funny stories from my life of service industry work before I became a professional meme lord. Oh god, actually I do remember once, this was actually when I worked at the cigar shop. The cigar shop is my favourite job I've ever had, like real job, apart from being like a rock star. It's obviously the best job I've ever had. But my favourite, like, you know, job that like your average boomer would approve of, I worked in a cigar shop. And that was actually really fun. And actually surprisingly low bullshit for a variety of reasons. But there was one guy that came in, and he was a regular customer, and he was a rude dickhead. Because a lot of cigar shop customers are rude dickheads. But and this guy came in, and he kind of, I was talking to a customer already, because that job's very talkative. You have to kind of, because it's like when you're selling products, like someone might come in, they might spend £7,000. So you want to carry on talking to them, try and upsell them, try and recommend them stuff. So you spend a lot of time talking to customers, and you have regulars, and you kind of form a bit of a bond with them, because, you know, when people have a vice, like people are addicted to nicotine, they want that shit every day. So I'd see the same people every day in that shop, and I, became friends with them, and I chat to them, and I, whatever. So this guy came in. He was a rude dickhead. He came in like once every 2 weeks, and I was talking to another customer. And like previously, you just queue and wait because there's only one person working in the shop, and it's like you wait until I serve you. You don't. There's like the humidor. You don't go into the humidor yourself. That's a big no-no. That's like a complete. You don't ever do that in a cigar shop. You ask and you wait for your host to like take you in. And he just goes straight up, and he's a regular customer in the shop. He knows the fucking rules, and he goes in. And he just goes and starts to open the humidor door. And I said, like, really politely, "Oh, please, sir, wait 1 moment. I'll just be with you." And then he mouths off at me, like, like I said politely but firmly, because you don't do that. And it's my shop, and you follow my fucking rules. I'm in charge. Like, if you want to go in the humidor, you be a big boy and you wait like 30 more seconds until I serve you. And he properly mouthed off at me. And I just, told him to go get stuffed or whatever. And he was saying, "I'm going to talk to, the owner of the shop, who was my boss." And I said, you say that to him and he'll call you a fucking fool. And he really got in we got in like a shouting match. It was like basically a verbal fight, and I was like scared that it was going to become like a fucking fist fight or something. And I mean, this guy was some short poncy arsehole who would have kicked his ass, but that's not the point. I was sitting there. I don't want to be in a confrontation in my workplace. I go here. I don't come here for fun. I don't come here to pick fights with rich arseholes. I come here because I want to pay my rent. And then all of a sudden, I'm just in this horrible fight with this guy, and then he leaves, and I'm in fucking tears by the end of it. And I go into the back of the shop, and I have to like close the door for 5 minutes while I compose myself, because I'm just being yelled at by some fucking arsehole for no reason. Anyway, he didn't come back in the shop after that, because I wouldn't let him back in the shop. Like, I made it very clear. I told the owner, I was like, I don't care if he's like allegedly your mate, he can go suck one. He's not coming back. I'm not serving him. And one time his wife came in to the shop, and he was outside, and I could see him trying to like hide outside, but I'm like, idiot, I can see you on the camera. I know you're there. And like, and then his wife came in. His wife was really rude to me as well, and she tried to buy his cigar. I knew what cigar he wanted because he came in, you know, regularly. I knew what his cigar was. It was a fucking Trinidad Vihir, prick. That's a cigar for assholes, by the way. And then she said, I want the Corona, which is the size for like a small one, and they have what's called a Petit Corona in the Trinidad range, which is a very small cigar. What he wanted was a fucking Robusto, but his wife doesn't know because she doesn't smoke cigars. And so I said, okay, and I sold him the Trinidad Petit Corona, and I cut the end of the cigar for her because that's what she had. Can you cut it as well? And I put it in a little bag, gave it to her, and then she came back and said, that's not the right cigar. And I'm like, well, I've already cut it, I've already sold it to you, we can't return cigars for security reasons. And then she was like, and I'm just like, asshole. And then on my very last day of working in that shop, because I quit to be in KKB, moved to Liverpool. On the very last day of working in that shop, the arsehole guy was next door in a cafe that was next there, and they sold cigars too, so he was getting his cigar, even though their cigars were shit. He was getting his cigar from there instead of my shop. And I saw him sitting on the chair, drunk as fuck, and like it's on the street, it's on the curb, so he's sitting on one of these like little cafe chairs, like on a curb that's a good foot off the road, and I see him tilt back, and the fucker falls off his chair and hits his head on the ground. And he looked really embarrassed because he knew he was drunk, and I was like, fuck you. So that's one of my favourite retail stories. Watching someone who was not very nice to me get hurt. And he then bundled home in a taxi with a very sore head. Prick. I remember once working at the cigar shop as well. There was an old dude it was an old Italian dude. He must have been about 65, and he would come in multiple times in the day. This guy was the most addicted to like tobacco person I've seen in my entire life. It was the best revenge, and I didn't even do anything. That was the most beautiful part, and it was on my last day of working there. But yeah, so this like 65-year-old Italian dude. He was very nice. He was a gentleman. He was very nice. He was very respectful. He was always nice to me. He made an effort to like get to learn my name like pretty quickly. He'd come into the shop like 3 times a day, and he'd buy like 3-4 cigars at a time. He was the only person who, if I closed the shop and I was counting out the till, he was the only person who I would still serve after we closed because he was just really nice. But he was like perpetually drunk. He would smoke about 10 cigars a day. Cigars, not cigarettes. 10 big cigars a day, because he would buy them from us. He'd buy them from the cafe that was also part of the same brand. He'd go to other cigar shops. The guy was insane. He always stank of tobacco smoke. And one day he came in, obviously shit-faced. He was very drunk. And he bought one of his usual cigars, and he chomped the end off, went to go light it. He got the match from the box of matches and went to strike it like that, when you, not like this or like this, he went like that, that. And then the match lit, the match head broke off, spun, landed on his white cashmere jumper right in the middle, set fire to the jumper, and he's going, puts it out, cigar still half lit in his mouth, and then he does it again with another match in the exact same technique, lights his cigar, goes to walk out, bumps into the fucking door, and then leaves. This is like 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Thursday. Oh, it was brilliant. What's Matthias say? Yeah, KFC's fucking brutal. I never worked there, but one of the guys I work with at Subway worked there for a while, and it doesn't sound as fun. And I have to say, being in KFC, like, it's more actual cooking than most other fast food places. But yeah. Oh, I had some fucking jokes times working in the cigar shop. I remember one guy came up to me and he said, we had this like crappy playlist of like boomer rock to play on the stereo every day. It was the owner's choice, and it was literally the same playlist every day. And I heard like fucking, what is it, Abbey Road by the Beatles every day for like a year, and did my nut in. And then he comes in, and The Long and Winding Road by the Beatles is playing, and the guy starts talking about how, like, the Beatles, some, like, rich English asshole bullshit. Shit, I can't remember what we started talking about. About how they always make money, and I was like, didn't Michael Jackson own the royalties to the Beatles or something like that? And he was like, I'll tell you what, I had the chance back in the day to buy the Beatles for £4 million. And I was on the stock market at the time, and I could have done it, but I said no. Imagine that. I could have bought the Beatles. I'm like, sure thing, dude. Okay, boomer. Right, I run out of mushrooms, so I'm just going to skip those and just finish off rolling with burritos. But that was just fucking like, who is this guy? And again, he was one of the like semi-regular customers, and he was usually quite rude. But I'm just like, for any reason, like, why are you talking to me? Like, why are you asking me about this? It's like, I don't care. Just buy a cigar and piss off. But yeah, imagine like hearing this. It's like, oh, sick, you could have bought the Beatles. I earn £7.50 an hour working in here. Oh my god, I have so many burritos. This one's a bit crooked. Hang on. I remember, oh my god, this was the most brutal story of excess I've ever heard. I remember once some dude came in and some American, like, we got a lot of American customers in this shop, but they're the worst kind of Americans. They're like old money, Harvard, Ivy League, like, you know, deep-rooted Republican, like I said, old money, like, you know, they're like fucking Fitzgerald book characters. And they were really rude and really condescending. They never tipped. They were never nice to you. They never laughed. They were just miserable fuckers. And one of these arseholes came in, and he gave me a credit card. Like, you would not believe the amount of, like, Amex Black cards, Platinum cards, all these insane credit cards I saw while working at this place. I'm just checking the weight on this. You would not believe the level of wealth I saw working in this place. It was fucking ridiculous. I saw like a bunch of businessmen come in and try to buy a cigar that didn't exist because it was limited edition. And when I said we have 8 cigars, they thought I said we have 8 boxes. And so, because they weren't fucking English, so they were like, they misheard me, and they were like, oh, 8 boxes. So they came in, and they took out a brick of what must have been about £20,000, because these cigars cost like almost £1,000 for a box, something like that, more than that. And they took out this giant brick of cash and started counting it out on the table. And I bring them the box of 8 cigars, and I'm like, no, I have 8, not 8 boxes. Anyway, but yeah. So this old money Harvard arsehole comes in, and he shows me a card I've never seen before. He pays with a debit card after spending about, or credit card, after spending about half an hour picking out like 2 cigars and being like a pain in the ass and asking me loads of questions. He pulls out a credit card I've never seen before. It was like silver eggshell color. It was really heavy. It was like fucking Patrick Bateman's business card. It was really heavy. It was like a paperweight. It was all metal. It was from a bank I'd never heard of. It was a card I've never heard of. I've never seen anything like it. And he was like, oh, look at that. Look at that, you see. You know, the Amex card. I have that. They say it has no limit. It has a limit. It's really high, but it has a limit. This card, you ever seen this before? It has no limit. He looked like fucking like Michael Sheen or like Michael Douglas or some other like... Is it Michael Sheen? He looked like Martin Sheen. He looked like Martin Sheen's character from The West Wing. He's like, this card has no limit. Do you remember 2 years ago, there was the snow in the winter, and the airport shut because of the snow. You couldn't get any flights out of London, Gatwick. I had to go back to fucking the Hamptons or some bullshit. And he was like, my mother had breast cancer. I had to go be with her. There were no flights. There were 2 private charter flights leaving Gatwick. And then the first one I bid on it, I got outbid. And then the second one, it was me and the Russian guy and the Middle Eastern guy. And then I eventually won. I paid $250,000 for this flight. And they scanned my card. The bank didn't even call me to check. I'm like, why are you telling me this? And then the fucker bought £100 worth of cigars and didn't tip me. I'm like, yeah, alright, you can suck one, mate. But I'm just like, who feels the need to like vulgarly display their wealth that much? It's like, if you're buying £100 worth of cigars, why do you need to use your fancy credit card that has no limit, so you can tell some fucking millennial who lives in a tiny 1-bedroom flat and is struggling to pay his rent every single month how fucking rich you are? And he talked about his wife as well. Oh, at the end, the best bit was the end. He said, and I got the flight, I made it, and my mother, she's doing great. I mean, like, kudos to this dude's mum. I mean, you raised a piece of shit, but you know, look at how much money I can owe someone I know. But the fact he was like, they didn't even scan the card because I spend this kind of money all the time. Oh, sick. Do you want to like fucking buy me a cigar while you're at it? Because I've given you half an hour of my day when I've got like work to do. But no. Right, it looks like this is going to be our last burrito. This one's a little bit short on beans. But, and he said as well, he said some shit about his wife, and he said about like, oh, this is my wife, my family has more money than her family. He literally said that. And he was like, he said that he went to Harvard and his wife went to Harvard, but his family has more money than her family. So this is going to be the all-protein burrito. This one's going to have a bit more beef in it than... bit more beef than beans, just because I'm running out of everything. We've reached the end of the burrito train. Oh my god, I've been going for like 2.5 hours. This has been fucking transcendental. Yeah, this is just random bullshit retail stories from James's life. But yeah, that was incredibly weird. It was so funny though, because especially like, you know, I didn't have purple hair back then. I had kind of, you know, neat brushed brown hair, and I wore a shirt and smart trousers, and I had smart shoes. And like, I'm pretty well spoken. I have a pretty, you know, like normal English accent. I don't have a strong accent. You know, I can be quite well spoken when I need to be. And these assholes think that I'm one of them, and they have no idea who I am. They have absolutely no idea who I am, and they think I'm some young middle-class boy, you know, or whatever. And they talk to me like, because they see that and they think they can let their guard down. They say the worst shit to me. They'd be like, yeah, right. And I'm like, you are the opposite of everything that I believe. I think you are like the fucking Antichrist. And they look at me like I'm one of their own. But it meant that they like me. That's the thing. They all these old fuckers like me. Which meant they bore me with their stupid, boring stories all the time. But, you know, occasionally they tip me. Occasionally they buy me cigars. That was cool. That was the best bit about working in a cigar shop. Apart from the fact it was fucking hilarious, was I got free Cuban cigars every day I worked there. It was brilliant. Either people bought them for you, the owner bought them for me. There were ones that were rejects that we couldn't sell because they have to be perfect, and I got to just fucking smoke them. And Cuban cigars, fucking delicious. You never had one, and you like tobacco? Incredible. They are delightful. But they're like 30 quid each. They're really fucking expensive. Oh my god. One of my other favourite things was, every week some poor sap would come in and they'd be like, oh, I went to Cuba on holiday and, you know, I got sold some cigars. Can you tell me what they are? And every single time, they were not only fake, they were just the worst fakes possible. It was horrific. Alright, cool. So, every single time. And they cost almost as much as the real ones did. And I'm like, for £200, I could have set you up with an amazing box of real Cuban cigars that actually are like verified. But every single time they brought me just absolute garbage fakes. Right. Let's see how many burritos do we have. Oh, this one's sticking to the counter a little bit. Damn, son. Oh my god. Yeah, but I did never get tired of seeing black cards and crazy credit cards and stuff like that, or seeing people. It was actually, if people spent a load of money, it was great because it meant that if we hit our targets the week, it meant I could get away with doing no work for the rest of the week, which is always my favourite thing to do. So yeah, here we go. So this is, I don't know how many burritos, but yeah, I did see some absolutely vulgar displays of wealth working in that place. So alright, here's our mountain of burritos. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 burritos. Perfect number. Delightful. Right, cool. I'm going to wrap these up now, just in cling film, and then they can go in the freezer. I'll save one. That can be my dinner after the stream's ended. That was fun. It was fun to relive some of my kind of hilarious retail memories while I'm at it. So just gonna, need to clear a bit of space actually, just gonna start wrapping these up. They're pretty much all cold by now, all the ingredients are room temperature, so I haven't got to worry about wrapping these up warm. Let's move this bullshit out of the way. Oh wow, yeah, I bet you did, damn. Yeah, I had a friend who was like that as well. She went to like an insane private school on a scholarship, and the amount of like just rich kids on drugs that she fucking hung out with was insane. It was great because she never had to pay for drugs, but you know. Yeah, hit me out if you wanna tell me, damn, go for it. This would be super fun actually for if we do the I was gonna do the call-in stream on Sunday where I'm gonna be playing Euro Truck Simulator and people can just call in with their funny ass stories. I'd love to hear that shit. That shit's really funny. Yeah, just like funny ass work stories or hilarious shit you've done. I mean, I'm quite, you know, I've lived many lives. You know, to be age 27, I've done quite a lot in my life. I've done quite a lot of different things. I've been different things to many different people. And that's cool, like, you know. Some people just dig doing the same thing and chilling and finding their spot, but I'm all about exploring. Trying to find the next opportunity or the next thing to do. Yeah, word. It'll be usual time, so it'll be from like, I don't know where you, what time zone you're in, probably from like between 12 to 3 onwards. Or if you're busy, you can just like call in on your phone from Discord and just say some hilarious shit to me. I'll try and remember some more funny stories for Sunday. I remember, yeah, again at the cigar shop, we would occasionally get like mildly famous people would come in, and like most of them were like fine, but some of them were really weird. Like there's a TV chef in England called Heston Blumenthal, and he's like a bit of a weird, if any English people are in here they'll know, but he's a bit of like a slightly weird esoteric TV chef, and he's one of the weirdest people I've seen in my entire life. He was fucking bizarre. He was walking around the shop like this, like Dr. Zoidberg, and he would get a cigar and he'd go, run it across his nose and go, very good. And he was like doing the fucking Dr. Zoidberg shit. And he'd go, like, point at some random object in the shop and go, oh, what's that? How much is that? I want it. And he ended up buying about 5 cigars and about £300 of just miscellaneous shit. And then I said to my colleague afterwards, who like didn't know and didn't care, I was like, that's fucking Heston Blumenthal. And she's like, who? And I showed him on YouTube. She's like, oh, okay. David Beckham, like, catcalled my co-worker once. He leaned out of his car and shouted something at her. Can't remember what it was. It's fucking funny. What else? Shit. I wasn't there, but Cameron Diaz came in and bought a pack of cigarettes. Because where I used to work, it was like right in the middle of London. It's like where all like the rich people are. Who else? Yeah, Jude Law as well. Can't remember what he bought. Probably cigarettes. Fuck, who else? Oh, I sold like an entire crate of cigarillos to Joanna Lumley. No, not Joanna Lumley. Jennifer Saunders. I have to say, like, boomers that frequent cigar shops, they're pretty funny. Usually for all the wrong reasons, but sometimes they are really, really funny. Oh, god damn it, son. Let's get all these burritos rolled up. Who else? Who else did I frequent? I mean, I don't know if anyone will know, but I served Martin Bashir, who was like a famed, disgraced TV news anchor in Britain. He got in trouble. I think he did some like fucked up shit to Michael Jackson, or he's famous for like interviewing Michael Jackson and being really horrible to him or something like that. And it kind of he did something else fucked up and it ended his career. And he came in occasionally. I was just gonna leave him alone. He would be in and out. Can I buy a burrito international shipping? Sure thing, dude. I'll give you one. You could probably get a way better one just like down your road. These are like, you know, multi-purpose healthy burritos. I swear the music goes every 50 minutes now, not every hour. But yeah, these are going to be my lunch for the next 2 weeks. I'm pleased how I made exactly 14. That kind of worked out really well. Whoop. Trying to keep them from unraveling. So how I would serve these, I'm just going to put them in the freezer, and then you can either take one out the night before and leave it in the fridge to defrost, or, I mean, like, if you're just, like, in a hurry, just take one out of the freezer, whack it in the microwave for 2 minutes until it's, like, soft, turn it over, then just heat up a non-stick frying pan and just toast the sides. So it's, like, nice and kind of crispy and fresh and hot all the way through. Our soup's still going good, by the way. It's just, like, been just chilling and doing its thing and reducing. I'll give that a taste in a minute, see how it's coming along. tell you what I can do actually, I can get the oven on when I make these little cakes next. My cling film's all torn up, damn it. I think I've told the story on stream before about how Heather from EastEnders used to come into my McDonald's when I worked there. It's pretty funny. Got this mountain of burritos. See, if I had a cooking show, this is the kind of thing I'd edit out. So good, so good. God, that took ages. I remember once when I worked as a bartender, one of my favourite things was not serving people that were drunk, because you're legally, in England, you are legally not allowed to serve alcohol to someone who is intoxicated. And it's up to the dispenser of alcohol's discretion to decide whether a person is intoxicated or not. So, someone's being rude to me, I'm not serving you. You're too drunk. And the place I worked was so huge, like nobody ever like noticed, or nobody ever got me. You know, nobody ever told me I couldn't do that. But it's great because when people would like be rude to me, or if they were visibly drunk, I wouldn't serve anyone who was visibly drunk because it's illegal. But if anyone was ever like a dick to me, I would just say, you're too drunk, I can't serve you. And one woman, I said that to her, and she said, I hope you die of cancer to me. I'm like, alright, thanks. Because I wouldn't serve her alcohol when she was so drunk she was jumping on the bar. Like jumping up the bar doing this. And I'm like, no, you're intoxicated, I legally can't serve you under the like fucking Weights and Measures Act or whatever it's called. And she just went quick as a flash, hope you die of cancer. Thanks. That was fucking horrible. Yeah, don't say that to people. I don't care if you're drunk, that's fucking not acceptable. Anyway. Good to meet Ken Levine. Oh, that's awesome. He accidentally spit on you while talking because I was in the front room. That's jokes. That's really funny. I remember when I worked at the cinema. I'm just gonna put these bad boys in the freezer. When I worked at the cinema, that was actually one of the chillest places I worked. Half the people there were really lovely, and half the people there were absolutely awful. And all the people there that were nice were really nice, and I really liked and got on with them. And there was one guy who I worked with who was really lovely. I really liked him. I didn't work very much with him because he worked downstairs and I worked upstairs. But he was really fucking nice. And one day, because it was like a independent cinema, so they did a lot of really cool screenings and events and stuff. They actually did a lot of really cool stuff at that cinema. A lot of shit too, but a lot of cool stuff. And there was some kind of screening for a film that had something to do with Patrick Stewart. I think he was like a patron or a donor or some kind of producer for the film. And Patrick Stewart was there for the premiere of the film. And my poor friend had the task of introducing him. And he spent all day thinking, how do I introduce Patrick Stewart? What do I do? Sir Patrick Stewart. And he was like freaking out and getting nervous. And he got ready. He's like, okay, I've got it. This is what I'm going to do. And then he walks up to the stage and he starts. And then Patrick Stewart walks up to him, grabs the microphone and says, I don't need an introduction. Or like, I could introduce myself, something along those lines. And my poor fucking mate he just got like, just demolished. And then like all the crowd like laughed. It's just like, oh no. Like sold out cinema laughed at my friend. I'm just like, oh, you poor guy. He was so nice, he didn't deserve it. I'm actually really bad. I don't keep up with any of my former co-workers, which is a shame because a lot of them are really nice. A lot of them are arseholes, but a lot of them are really nice. I don't really keep up with them. I like to keep my work and personal life separate. Anyway, okie dokie. Soup's looking good. I think that's pretty much done, actually. So I'll take the headphones off real quick and I'll just get that taste. Once again, I need a spoon. I haven't got any spoons.
is good. That is great. That's really delicious. I'm very happy with that. So it's really just rich and tomatoey. It has a lovely spice to it, a very kind of intense, kind of flavorful, meaty flavor from that chorizo and the cheese. It's just like a beautiful, savory kind of explosion. It's really nice. I'm very into that. It's great. Just gonna have some peppers. So I will add, I have some of these shallots left over. I'll just scoop those in, just so they get used. Just add a bit more vegetables to the soup. Bruh, come on. Alright, cool. Other than that, that's pretty much done. That's just like beautiful tomatoes, chorizo, cheese, garlic. I have some green chilies. It's already spicy enough. Okay, cool. Let's turn the heat off. I'll let that cool down. We'll portion that out a little bit later. Okay, cool, right, it's time to start making, well, I'll clean the decks first, and I'll start making our little cake batter. Check out how our ganache is doing, that's kind of set nicely. Okie dokie. Right, so for this, I would normally recommend making this in like a bowl or something. I can put this in the fridge actually for now. I would normally recommend not making cakes in a container, but how we make this batter, it's almost like a pancake batter. So this madeleine batter is very kind of light and easy. It's not complicated at all. So what I'm just going to start with, I do have my electric whisk somewhere. I'm trying to find the little balloons for the little balloon. Here we go. Just going to whack these bad boys in. Just going to go grab my... Again, I have only the finest tools in my kitchen. I have an incredibly old Dura brand by Asda, which has been discontinued for at least 10 years, electric mixer, which I stole from my mum. I borrowed it once and never gave it back. This thing is incredibly old. So, to make this little madeleine mixture, it's super easy. It's basically 3 medium eggs, just whole. And the oven's preheating to 180 degrees, so that's all we need. Oop. I think about the amount of eggs I've cracked in my life, it is probably millions. Right. I'll tell you what, how many eggs, you don't want to know how many eggs we get through at McDonald's breakfast on a Sunday. Unbelievable amounts. And then we want, I'm going to get my electric scales back. Where did I put them? Bro, here they are. I just want, I pretty much have this recipe almost memorized. Okay, let's go for, where is it? No, that ain't it. That ain't it, Chief. Just looking for the white sugar. Where did I put it? Here it is. 80 grams of white sugar. Almost there. Perfect. And now we want to just mix that bad boy up. So by whisking this, in this nice little container, it just kind of allows you to do it quicker. So by mixing this, we want to aerate the mixture. So by adding air into this blended egg and sugar mixture, it'll make the batter really light and fluffy and delicious and delicate, and it adds these lovely little bubbles that you get in madeleines. Which, if you don't know what they are, these little French cakes that look like little shells. They're in the thumbnail.
They are delightful in the morning with a coffee. They're little hot, little crispy little cakes. Just adding air to the mixture, it'll make it larger. It'll kind of almost double in volume. Not quite, but almost. It's like if you're making a meringue, you want to kind of aerate the mixture. You see how this once was yellow and kind of runny? It's now kind of very pale and white and almost thick, like almost like a mayonnaise, like an emulsion. Of course, we have our lovely pale madeleine dough. Just a bit of hair on there. Bruh. Okie dokie, I can pop this off. Don't do this anymore. Just pop these here. I have a like a cake scraper. Here we go. Next I want to sifter. We're going to sift in 80 grams of self-raising flour. This recipe is like almost 1-to-1. It's like making a pound cake almost. It's pretty much 1-to-1 for everything. Okay. Just by weighing it in the sifter, we can then just tap it in. It will go straight in. Just very gently pat that boy in. Again, like none of the recipes I'm making today are high culture at all. None of them are hot at all. None of them are like massive effort at all. They're all very simple. They're all just kind of like me making quick, easy, like, you know, like I don't make extravagant food every day. I use shortcuts. I use frozen shit and tin stuff sometimes. Right, here we go. All the flour's gone in. So by sifting it, that removes any lumps. And because we built up all that air with the egg, we want to only just very gently fold it in. So very gently just fold that bad boy in. Because now the flour has been sifted, it's not going to clump. And by folding it in very gently, we won't deflate our eggs too much. It's important to have a batter with smooth and has no lumps in it, but we don't want to knock all the air out the eggs. Because if we do that, then it's not going to be light. So we're using self-raising flour here, not any leavening agent, so that's all we need to make them kind of light and fluffy. We don't need any more than that. Just very gently fold that bad boy in. This is where using a bigger bowl would come in handy, but I can't be bothered. Okie dokie, next I just want to add some melted butter. I'm actually not using butter first, I'm just going to use margarine instead, which has slightly less fat and less calories in. Okay, again, it's pretty much the same. It's 80 grams. I'm going to use a tiny bit less because you don't need all of that. I'll use like 60. And then nothing fancy, I'm just literally going to yeet that in the microwave for like a couple seconds and just melt it until it's soft. Soft enough to pour in. How did that get in there? Ugh. Right. That will not need long. Our oven's already nice and hot, so it won't take too much longer. Then we have our next ingredient. We have some poppy seeds. Actually, no, I was going to make chocolate ones today. Normally I would put poppy seeds in these and lemon zest. I'll make lemon poppy seed ones. I'm going to make chocolate ones today, so they're going to be like coated in the chocolate ganache when they're done. Just getting that butter a little melty boy. Tres leche cakes. I don't think I have. I might have had them but not known what they were. But I'm sure they're delicious. Because it's margarine, it melts at like a super low temperature because it's half oil anyway. So, cool, that's all we need. And just going to very gently... See, the bubbles are already kind of rising up because it's self-raising flour and it just naturally reacts. Very gently just stirring that. It's not hot, so I haven't got to worry about it cooking the eggs. But so we see this is a really lovely, just light. It's got natural bubbles from the aerated egg. The self-raising flour has already started to kind of work a little bit, so it's going to be a really deliciously light little mixture. I'm trying to remember what tres leche cakes are. I'm sure I've had one, but I probably wouldn't remember what it was. So, delightful. Just going to stir and make sure all of the melted margarine / fake butter is incorporated. And it's all just emulsified. So you can see by the bubbles just how much air is in this. which is exactly what we want. We want it to be nice and light, almost like a little meringue. Okie dokie. Just gonna have a sip of my peppers. I think it gets a little bit wet, this mixture. It could use a little bit more flour. Just a pinch. Fuck it. It's better. The one thing is with these arseholes really like to stick. And it is really frustrating. Also, especially because like the madeleine pan I have, it's really cute. I'll show you in a second. It's actually what's behind me. You can see it on the camera. It was brand new, but I've had it for a couple of years, and I've only used it like 10 times. But it's annoying, like when you get like new, really non-stick pans, the non-stick coating on them wears off so quickly, and then like even though it looks still new, like it's just so difficult getting stuff to release from it. Okay. These are almost there, just folding in that last bit of flour a bit more. Don't want to knock too much of the air out of them. So it's about as simple as a cake recipe can come. Eggs, flour, sugar, butter. And I could add like some orange zest and poppy seeds to these, but I'm not going down that route today. So here we have our little madeleine pans. It's just a lovely little aluminium, non-stick coated. But we need to be super careful about these sticking. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to rub this bad boy down with some vegetable oil. Just a piece of kitchen paper. Where's my kitchen rag on? I feel like I've been like streaming for like 3 hours. I've entered like the, you know, warp zone. It's like a moist cake made with fruits. Oh, that sounds great. You know what? I'm sure I've had that at some point. Like I've got that from somewhere. I've got that from somewhere, but without realizing. I love evaporated milk. That's the bomb. Like when I made my little banoffee pie with that stuff, it's like that shit's like crack. So just wiping down the insides of these quite liberally with vegetable oil, and we're going to flour them as well, just to make sure that absolutely nothing's going to stick. Like how it should be, when you take this out the oven, you should tip the tray up and tap it and the cake should just fall out. That's what we're aiming for today. I don't know if we'll get that. And the thing is, you can like pry them out, but firstly that scratches the pan and makes it sticky even more, and also it kind of, you end up with a not too nice texture on the bottom of the cakes. They don't look as pretty. Like the bottom is the money shot. You want the bottom of, you want the shell to look perfect. So now it's important to use plain flour here, not self-raising flour, because it will like explode when you bake it. You need to use regular plain flour, which I can't find. Here we go. This is the only messy part of the whole thing, so just want to kind of go in there quite liberally, because there's quite a lot of oil in there, so we want to just kind of like cover the whole thing. And this is annoying because it makes like a gummy layer of flour on top of the whole tray, and it's like a pain in the ass to clean, but these cakes are delicious, so it's worth it. Okay, and then I'll try and do it your way so you can see. Tap! And again, so then that thing's pretty well covered. We can go in again because there's still some bits of oil in there. So you want the whole thing to just be perfectly dusted with flour. You don't want to see any of the metal. And you don't want to see any blobs of oil either. And what this does, it just creates a little barrier that will stop the cake batter from sticking. And it's just like light enough to where it will mix in with the cake and it won't kind of make a floury crust or hard crust. Hi Koenig. I actually don't think there are actually anyone English in this stream apart from me at the moment. I'm lucky enough to have people watching from everywhere in the world, which is fucking awesome. I love that shit. Oh, there's still a bit of oil here. Oh hell yeah, shred brother. Some Hotel California jam right there. I've been watching, I don't even like them, but I've been watching like a load of Metallica stuff. Like they have all their like recordings of and all their like tour films and stuff are all really interesting because they're all such like insane people. I was watching their like Some Kind of Monster documentary again the other day, and it's brilliant. It's like one of the best like documentaries ever made, and it's like the most real film about being a musician, being in a band. And it's just funny watching them all like call each other names and cry. Okay, yeah, I'm all good, Koenig. I'm having a good day. Just making some food. I've made plenty of food. I'm now gonna. Oh, here we go. I'm just gonna start pouring in these little madeleine batters. It's lovely and light. So just want to kind of just put them up to the base of the tray because they are going to rise and expand. And if they kind of pop out, they don't look very nice. They should look almost like little boats with a beautiful little seashell underneath. That's the aim. Oop, that one's a bit overfull. It's fine. This recipe makes about 16, so I get kind of 1.5 runs out of this. So my tray makes 12. This is like about as easy as you can come with a cake. But I mean, if you haven't got the tray, you can use like little ramekins or little muffin molds. I mean, these will make great little like cinnamon, like poppy seed, lemon zest muffins as well. But I just love these little cakes because they're so small. They're just like the right size. Like one of these with a coffee is banging in the morning. Ideally, you'd want to put them on a scales and weigh these portions out, but I'm just eyeballing it today because I ain't being perfect today. Cool. That looks good. One thing I would say, it's important just to pre-flight, just tidy up the tray a little bit. Like if you have any little spills like this bit here, little blobs, just mop that up and that'll help the cake release from the tray. Because what we want the cakes to kind of release from the tray so we can just plop them out when they come out. So right, just put this in the oven at 180 degrees. Oh, there's a bit of paper in there that shouldn't be in there. Let me just take that out. We'll leave these for a good 10 minutes. Don't want to open the oven door. Try not to, because if we do that, it's going to deflate the cakes. We want to leave them stay as hot as they can. I'll just put this green chopping board. We're done with that boy now. Right. Whew, we're almost done. We're almost there. Right, okay, let's clean this mess up. So, in 10 minutes time, they will come out and they will be done. Let's get rid of this bowl. Oh, I'm going to have so much fun washing up tomorrow, you know it. But I haven't got to worry about cooking for the next, like, 10 days or so. Where'd my bag of flour go? Let's get this flour back in the bag, because I can reuse this. The counter's clean. Don't want to waste. Is this going to work? Hang on. Yeah, that's going to work. That's only mildly going on the floor. I mean, I don't know why I'm even bothering to save that. Flour's like 50p a bag. Let's put the rest of this in the bin. Okie dokie. Hands another wash. Have I eaten cachitos? I don't know what that is. Probably. I might have done. What's that, Koenig? Hang on. This sounds like a mid-Final Fantasy dialogue cutscene between the song lol. 100 million subscribs. I fucking wish, mate. That'd be sick. That means I wouldn't have to get a real job. I could just, like, be professional meme lord. That's, like, my dream job. But I don't care how many people are here. If there's fucking 1 million people here or 2 people, it's still fun. The whole point about it. I mean, like, I like stuff like this where it's like I would be doing this anyway, and I can just turn it into a live stream and I get a chance to hang out with people. So anyway, right, we now have... God. Our soup is pretty much done. Here is our soupy boy. He's been cooling down for a little bit now while I was just getting the cake batter ready. So it's pretty much done. We have this lovely little tomato, chorizo, basil, parmesan cheese soup. I'm just going to peel these little bits of basil out because these are now done. If I take if I leave these in, they kind of freeze not very nice and they wilt and they become bitter. So I'm just going to... Sorry, I'm doing this with my fingers, but I mean, I'm the one eating the soup, so... Anyone seen that video of like Gordon Ramsay cooking macaroni and cheese? And he's like, right, I'm going to check if the pasta's done. And he puts his hand in boiling water, grabs a bit of macaroni out of the pasta, and goes, yeah, it's done. It's just like fucking absolute nutcase that man is. There we go. So these basil leaves have done their job. They've made this soup delicious, and basil has this really lovely kind of perfumed floral flavour. It's really just delightful. Oop, here we go. Still, fucking tomato's hot. The reason I'm doing this with my hands is because I've run out of spoons. They've all gone. Fucking, what's his name? Salad Fingers has taken all my spoons. Do you like me spoons? Whatever it is he says. Yeah, just eat that bad boy out of there. Yeah, that's fine. Cool. Alright, cool. Our soup is good to go. I have just a stack of these just really basic reusable plastic containers I got from Amazon that came today. I've used these a bunch of times over the years. Like, these are really kind of just simple. Like, they're about £5 for 20 of them. They last. You can reuse them a bunch of times, so they're not waste. They're not waste plastic. It's made with manja. I don't know what that is either, dude. It sounds good though, whatever it is. But yeah, so these, you can use these a good like 10-20 times. Whenever I get like a stack of like 10 or 20s, they usually last me for about a year and a half. So these aren't too bad waste-wise. I don't like non-reusable plastic, but let's get myself a big old scoop for a ladle. Yeah. Cool, so I'm just gonna start yeeting this in. I'll tell you what I'll do, I'll actually weigh these so I can be extra precise. Got some flour on my scales, hang on. Okay. I know about 3 scoops is a good serving of this, so I'm just gonna trying not to get it all over the sides. So about 130 grams is the ideal portion of this. And these little soups in 130 grams, it might not look like a huge amount, but that's a pretty decent bowl of soup. That's about 180 calories. And that at lunchtime, perfect, will fill you up until dinner time. So let's go in again. Want to kind of give a good stir, make sure I'm getting all the chorizo and some of the shallots. Yeah, that's perfect. Because this is still hot, I'm going to leave it to cool down. So I'm not going to put the lids on until these are cold. Actually, those I can smell the madeleines. They smell great. Hang on. Let me just... Well, that's a bit much. Hang on. Start putting these out. I'm just going to very quickly... I don't really want to open, but I know my oven is hotter on one side than it is the other. Oh, wow. These are great. No, come on. Don't deflate, please. I know my oven's hotter at the back than it is the front, so I had to turn them around. They do not need long left. They are only like a couple minutes away from perfection. Manjaro is dolce de leche. Ah, similar but not the same thing. Word. Yeah, no, I haven't had that. Unfortunately, I haven't had much like Central or South American food in my life, to be honest. Only when I've been to America, and I went to Mexico very, very briefly, and it was amazing. It honestly doesn't exist in Britain. It's just not a thing. Hang on, how much does this one weigh? Yeah, that's 200 and... That's 203. That's 213. These are right. 213. That's 230. What? Right, hang on. 230 is what we're aiming for. But yeah, there's not a whole lot of South and Central American food in America, in England, sadly, and it's a real shame because it's incredible cuisine. And English people don't really understand like South American or Central American food at all. Like, we get like really bad Tex-Mex, and that's like it. That's what people think Mexican food is over here. They got no idea. And that's what I thought too until I went there, until I ate real American, like Mexican, South American food. I was like, oh, this is what it is. This is what this shit is. It's amazing. But yeah, I remember where I used to live in New Cross by Goldsmiths, which is kind of like a very important place in the KKB lore. Me and Jamie used to be neighbours. What was I going to say? Yeah, there was one place. It was in like a. There was like a weird, because there was like a cool like South American community. They were mostly Colombian who lived there, and there was like a weird little tiny mini mall in the corner where I used to live that had a little South American like mini mall where they sold like groceries and they had a couple different restaurants. There was one place there that was like a really cool like Colombian breakfast place. I can't remember what it was called, but they used to have this thing. It was like a huge, but it was like £14. It was huge, and it was like black beans, like chorizo, fried plantain, egg, ground beef, rice, avocado, everything in breakfast, and it was incredible. And it was like enough food to like kill 3 people. It was brilliant. That's pretty much the only time I've had like even vaguely decent like real like Central or South American food in England. It's funny, I used to work in one of the awful kitchen places I used to work with. I worked with like a bunch of like middle-aged Bolivian ladies, and they were really lovely, but I didn't get to eat any food they made because we were making some shit for some asshole who owned the company. I bet they made fire food at home though. They were really nice. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Cool, so we got how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's annoying because the soup looks like brown on the camera, but it's a delightful red. It's a beautiful, you can't even see it here, it's a beautiful bright red colour. It's absolutely lovely. You got the little kind of green flecks of the basil, it's banging. They started selling cachitos in New York. Word! Wow. I'd love to try and check some out next time I go. New York fucking scares me. That place isn't too intense for me. Like, London is intense, but New York is next level. I was like genuinely, like, I was there for like, not, where was I? Was I fucking in, like, was it Queens or was it the other one? No, it wasn't Queens, it was like the Bronx. I was like walking around Brooklyn. I was walking around Brooklyn for like an hour, and I was like, this place is just too next level for me. Everything feels so big, and I felt so small. Just everything felt enormous. It was terrifying. Okay, cool, right, this is the last one, pretty much. Great, okay, cool, right, we are there. Almost 230 grams. Excellent. Oh shit, gotta take the cakes out. Mustn't forget. Don't be too dark. Oh no, they're just right. Aha! Oh, good sign. Okay, so here we go. Here are our beautiful little madeleines just come out. And if you can see, there's a little gap around the cake. So we did our job of greasing and lining the mold properly. So that will be, just make sure all the gas is off. That will be, they should release from their mold in a good 5 minutes. I'm just going to put these somewhere out of the way to cool down for a sec. I'm running out of kitchen space here, unfortunately. Just pop these here for a minute. Oh, I would fucking love it if I tap those on the counter and they all come falling out. That would be beautiful. Right, I have too many soups. Let's just pop these here for now so they can just cool down in peace. I'll let them cool down properly after the stream's ended. But yeah, New York is like one of the fucking most intense places I've ever been. It is the most intense place I've ever been. For sure. Like, London feels quaint compared to New York. It's like New York on crack. Or London on crack. And that said, Hong Kong is also fucking next level. Awesome place. I love Hong Kong. Right. And I only saw like the tiniest bits of it. Right, this marathon 3.5 hour cooking stream is coming to an end. We are done. Hang on. So we made a whole bunch of burritos. I'll just get one out the oh, they haven't frozen fully yet. That's cool. Actually, I need to eat one of these. I'm hungry. I haven't eaten today. So here we have a little beautiful little burrito, perfect little soup, and a lovely little madeleine cake. Oh yeah, hit me up. Yeah, absolutely. Whenever you want to send me shit, yeah, just hit me up on Discord. That sounds great. I'd love to see that. I'll try my hand at making them. Okie dokie, where's my oven glove gone? Oops, shit. Making a big mess. Okie dokie, let's see. Are these going to come out? Let's try and turn the camera a bit more this way, can I? Am I like running out of room? So many soups! Okay, let's see. Will this work? They should all pop out. No. Oh shit. Maybe they need to cool down a bit more. Hang on. They look like they should come out though. Oh, that's still hot. They kind of released around the sides, but maybe not enough around the bottom. Let me try and lever one out and see how it looks. Oh yeah, they're coming out. I just don't want to tear the little bottoms of the cake. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, hey, look at that. Isn't that pretty? Aww. Isn't that lovely? There's a little bit on the bottom, a little bit of stickiness on the bottom, but oh, they are magical, just like that. They're so pretty. So I'll eat one on camera. That's my one thing I'll eat on camera today. Hang on. I have some of our chocolate ganache as well, which is just chilling in the fridge. Just kind of... It's weirdly got a little bit grainy. Hang on. It hasn't fully set yet, and I don't know why. Maybe the chocolate I use is different this time, but... It certainly seems cold enough. I'll just get myself a little teeny tiny plate for this. So here, and these are the best when they're hot. They're so good when they're hot. If I just do a little bit of a... Now that's magic right there. Not very pretty plating, but I don't care. Oh, just a little bit of chocolate on it. That's so good. Mmm. Lovely dark ass chocolate. Mmm. Mmm. And the cakes are kind of light and eggy and a bit bubbly and chewy. Mmm. 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 They're really great. They're so nice. Because, like, yeah, it's like... You get the flavour from the egg, and then they're kind of a little bit buttery as well. And they're just really bubbly and chewy and light because we whip the eggs up. So, that's delicious. The chocolate ganache, I'm a bit disappointed. It hasn't kind of come out how I wanted it. It's a bit too runny, and it's kind of a bit separated. So, what I'll do is... I'll probably heat that up again like tomorrow, and I'll smooth it out a little bit. And maybe add a bit more chocolate in to kind of thin it out. And then I'll find some way of injecting the chocolate into them. But until then, that's how we have our little cakes. I'll just pop them all out of the mold now. They might come out now. Oh yeah, they're starting to. Yay! Yeah. Oh no, I broke. Oh no, I broke a couple of them. Okay, I will use my knife and fingers to get the rest of these out. Don't want any more casualties. See, look at that. Oh, it looks lovely. Oh, they come out so easily. They're just not falling out. I think me beating the living hell out of them was probably a bad idea. Oh, yeah. But yeah, you see like this little kind of like, little crispy caramelized edge. That shit's beautiful. It's so delicious. Oh, this one's a bit sticky. Here we go. Oh, they're so lovely and warm. Mmm. There we go. Lovely. Right, let's put this out of the way. So let's get let's get another plate, it's fine. Okay. Oh, I'm so sad about that one. It can go on the bottom. Oh, it's Jablinski Plays. What up, my boy Jablinski? Oh, I'm so sad about that edge that broke. I love that. Anyway. Oops. How cute they are. How cute those little cakes are. They're really just like, they're really light and fluffy and just fantastic. Anyway. So that's how you make a shit ton of soups, a shit ton of burritos that are going to be fantastic. And some nice little cakes. Put these in a bag. These will keep for like 4 or 5 days. You can have like 1 or 2 each day as a little treat. That's how you make all that shit. Anyway, it's been super fun. Thanks for streaming. Thanks for joining me today on the stream. Where I appreciate you all who hung around and gave me your time. Appreciate you who listened to my dumbass stories. I'll see you in a couple days, probably for the truck driving stream on Sunday, where you can call in with your problems and ask Uncle James for advice. I'm gonna go to bed because I'm fucking tired. I'll see you all soon. Thanks, everyone. Until next time. Bye-bye.
Eat whatever you want. Just have one meal that day.
My age, I should know better. I try and do the best I can to manage things like my high cholesterol, but nothing ever seemed to work. So I went to see my doctor, and he told me I might be suffering from a condition that affects lots of people today. Not giving a fuck